saying Taliban militants were attacking Afghan government forces. Despite the new agreement with the US, the Taliban refuses to recognize the Afghan government's legitimacy. Dave?
Simon, they'll be out searching again in Tennessee for dozens still unaccounted for in the widespread tornado destruction in and around Nashville.
All of our stuff is pretty much, it's in shambles.
At least 24 people were killed. Some died in their beds when the storms hit after midnight yesterday. America's listening to Fox News.
37 degrees. It's 5:02 on AM 560, The Answer, and good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A baby is dead. At least 8 others are hurt, some critically. It follows an overnight house fire on Chicago's southwest side. Police say the blaze broke out late last night in the attic of a single-family home near 60th and Kenneth. 8 were hospitalized, including a 1-year-old girl who was pronounced dead. A 2-year-old girl and a man and woman are in critical condition. Authorities are also investigating this morning after a man died of a suspected carbon monoxide poisoning on Chicago's south side. Police say a carbon monoxide alarm went off inside an apartment building in the 800 block of East 53rd Street last night. Now, fire crews located a unit with a stove on, which led to the alarm going off. The man was found dead in another unit across the hall. Officials at the University of Chicago Medical Center are confirming that a patient suspected of having coronavirus who was being treated at the hospital has tested negative. That leaves only 4 reported COVID-19 cases in the state, all in good condition. The Archdiocese of Chicago is issuing new guidelines over possible spread of coronavirus. Policies are being implemented in all parishes within the Archdiocese. All priests, deacons, altar servers, and extraordinary ministers must wash their hands before Mass begins and use an alcohol-based antibacterial solution before and after distributing communion. The new guidelines also eliminate the use of the chalice during communion and suspend handshaking during the sign of the peace. Chicago State University's men's basketball team will not play 2 upcoming road games due to the COVID-19 concerns. Cougars informing the WAC conference they will not travel to Washington State to play its Thursday road game against Seattle U. On Saturday, they will not travel to Utah to play Utah Valley University. Might be good anyway. The Cougars are currently on a 19-game losing streak. 5:04 on AM 560, The Answer. The lawyer for a man charged in the killing of a veteran Chicago police commander are saying his client acted in self-defense, while prosecutors insist he fatally shot the veteran officer to avoid arrest.
It's a tragedy, but actually, Commander Bauer brought it on himself.
Shamari Leggett is on trial in Cook County Circuit Court for first-degree murder in the February 13, 2018 killing of Commander Paul Bauer. Before the opening arguments began Tuesday, a pair of motions made by defense attorneys were denied, including a motion to dismiss because of the lack of a speedy trial. An unruly passenger blamed for an American Airlines flight landing early in St. Louis. Officials say the flight from Chicago to Dallas was diverted to St. Louis International Lambert Airport last night because of a disturbance with a passenger. That passenger was removed without incident by security. Now, flight crews and the rest of those on board the plane stayed in St. Louis overnight. 2 brothers are accused in Illinois of forcing a 17-year-old Texas girl into prostitution and holding her against her will when she expressed a desire to return home. 29-year-old Eric Johnson was charged Tuesday with aggravated criminal sexual assault and aggravated battery. A man is dead after he was shot while playing basketball on Chicago's south side. Police say a group of people were playing hoops yesterday in the 200 block of East 111th when an argument broke out and someone pulled out a gun and opened fire. Separate federal juries have found that Chicago police officers wrongly indulged in conduct that resulted in the fatal shooting of a suspect and the false confession and imprisonment of an alleged rape suspect. A federal jury found a police sergeant was unjustified in the shooting of Kawan Ray as they ran through an alley in November of 2016. Another jury awarded $5.2 million to Stanley Rice, who claims two now retired Chicago police officers beat him into a confession of a September 1982 gang rape and assault. Sergeant John Byrne and Peter Dignan worked under disgraced police commander John Burge. A state panel is recommending that Rod Blagojevich should be disbarred. State police say 3 died when a small plane crashed and burst into flames on I-55 in central Illinois. And University of Illinois students will get a chance to vote on a possible change in the school's mascot. A vote will be held today and tomorrow on the proposed belted kingfisher mascot. It is a bird native to the state with orange and blue coloring. If students approve, the mascot will go through a process by school officials for possible final approval. The outcome is expected to be announced March 11. Dylan Strom scored 2 of the Blackhawks' 4 second-period goals as they beat the Ducks 6-2 at the UC. Cubs fell to the Rockies in Scottsdale. Nicky Delmonico a 2-run home run in a White Sox loss to the A's. The number 23 Fighting Illini visit Ohio State tomorrow night. After Rutgers' upset of number 9 Maryland last night, the Illini have a shot at a conference crown. Elsewhere in college hoops, DePaul held off Marquette. UIC beat IUPUI 93-59 in the Horizon League tournament. And our Northern Illinois Huskies crushed Toledo 71-50. The news, a service of Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Home is more than a house. It's the feeling of open roads and blue skies. Rocket Mortgage has helped millions of Americans finance the home of their dreams. Rocket Mortgage, push button, get mortgage. 508, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager believes you need to follow the money.
For a scientist now to say anything that is any way different from the world is coming to an end is not only to court the end of your career, but it is to receive no funds. The money, man, the billions are in hysteria.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Owen Strand for townhall.com. Many people expect religious types to lead the way ethically. In recent days, one religious publisher went the opposite way. Christianity Today ran a piece entitled Polyamory, Pastor's Next Sexual Frontier. Polyamory, from the Latin several loves, refers, please note, to 3 or more adults in consenting sexual relationships. Alongside general common sense, the piece by Preston Sprinkle and Branson Parlor identified positive elements of polyamorous instincts. The desire for family, rejection of individualism, and focus on community and polyamorous desires are good things that draw people to polyamory. One thing's for sure, this isn't your grandfather's religion. It's a strange day when an evangelical publisher puts out material identifying polyamory in positive terms. We need a clearer word. Polyamory is wrong. There's nothing good in it. Let's return to the day when religious types led the way ethically. I'm Owen Strand.
Alliance, defending freedom, protecting religious liberty. Click on the banner at townhallreview.com.
My name is David Hochberg. If you'd like to pay off debt, call Team Hochberg about a cash-out refinance. In January, Team Hochberg helped listeners convert $1.1 million of their home's equity to pay off credit cards, car loans, medical bills, collections, and judgments, which saved listeners over $41,000 a month. You struggled through last year. You have heard hundreds, if not thousands, of my ads. Your debt has not magically disappeared and is still there, and most likely it's growing. Home values are up, interest rates are down, and now is an excellent time to call to see if we can help you consolidate your debt with a cash-out refinance to substantially reduce your monthly payment. Seriously, what are you waiting for? Please pick up the phone and call Team Hochberg now at 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Homeside Financial Legal Housing Lender, MLS 112-4061.
Now some better news brought to you by Canada Dry. Traffic's the worst, so grab a can of Canada Dry ginger ale and imagine instead you're gently floating through the cosmos on a soft, comfy recliner. Next time, relax with the real ginger taste of Canada Dry.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com.
At 5:11, let's check the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center and Jim Telemonti.
Chicago expressways and tollways are looking pretty good right now this Wednesday morning. Major overnight construction at the Burns Circle affecting ramps, lanes, and the outbound Eisenhower. Well, that's all cleared now, so things are as they were before that overnight work. Traffic moves through the area nicely. Looking well to the southeast on northbound I-65 in the Remington area. There was a multi-truck crash. I-65 has reopened between 231 and 24 in that area. Otherwise, this morning, it's pretty quiet as far as traffic goes. No crashes or incidents to report in the Chicago area, and travel conditions right now are looking good. That's traffic. I'm Jim Calamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Here's our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
A rain or snow shower for early this morning. Otherwise, clouds give way to some sun. Breezy today, high 47. Clear to partly cloudy tonight and a low 32. Partly sunny, breezy, and mild tomorrow, the high at 52. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
38 at O'Hare, 40 Lakefront, 39 at Midway. And your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
Message and data rates may apply. Please don't text while driving.
If you've been in business more than 20 minutes, you've probably printed your logo on all kinds of promotional products. We all know logos work because they're on everything from the top of skyscrapers to the bottom of shoes. Ever wondered why? Or how to best use your logo to grow your business? Let us show you today for free. We're 4imprint, promotional product experts at your service. We're giving away the latest issue of Amplify, the digital magazine that reveals promotional product success stories absolutely free to everyone who texts BOOST to 88988. At 4imprint, we make your logo look perfect on thousands of promotional items. With our 100% guarantee, it'll be right the first time, on time, every time. Your free e-magazine will reveal invaluable insights that can attract new customers, build your brand, and grow your business. Get the latest issue of Amplify absolutely free by texting BOOST to 88988. That's BOOST to 88988.
A business needs to be built on a great foundation, one with the framework of integrity and tradition. Chapel Design Build delivers just that, providing design build and general contracting services using Butler Steel Building Systems. Their projects dot the landscape from O'Hare to DeKalb. You see their work in office and warehouse additions, recreational facilities, large-scale distribution centers, and manufacturing plants all over northern Illinois. Partnering with Butler Steel Buildings, Chapel Design Build has developed an extensive subcontractor base and valuable market knowledge to get your quality built project completed on time and on budget, ensuring your project is a success for your business and one that you will be proud of for years to come. The goal is to build lasting relationships with their clients using buildings that last from Butler. Get started on your next building project built with Butler Steel. Visit chapeldb.com. That's Chapel D as in design, B as in build.com.
You've heard Rumpke's Garage commercials on AM 560, and now they specialize in servicing Sprinters and light-duty diesels. But the experts at Rumpke's also service Isuzu and Chevy low-cab forward trucks. So if you own an Isuzu or Chevy low-cab forward truck but aren't sure where to get it repaired, take it to Rumpke's Garage, your #1 dealer alternative for repairs to your Isuzu NPR, Isuzu F-Series, or Chevy low-cab forward truck. Whether gas or diesel, your truck is the lifeline of your business. That's why Rumpke's Garage offers free loaners while your truck is being serviced. They'll even pick up and deliver for your convenience. Rumpke's Garage has the factory scan tool to properly diagnose Isuzu and Chevy low-cab forward trucks. Their commitment to your business is backed with a complimentary maintenance plan and free 2-year warranty. Go to Rumpke'sGarage.com to learn more about their specialization in Isuzu and Chevy low-cab forward trucks and schedule your appointment today. That's Rumpke's, REMKES, Garage.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the IRS Radio Hour with Stephen Leahy. Every Sunday afternoon at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So restoration over revolution. It's now over for Bernie after it was over for Biden 96 hours ago. Is that what we're supposed to believe? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. I don't think so. Big night for Joe Biden on Super Tuesday. There's no question. Bernie underperformed and Biden overperformed. But depending on whose delegate count you believe, Biden at the end of the night, even after winning Texas, coming back to win Texas late last night, is anywhere from 41 delegates up. I saw at Real Clear Politics to 75 delegates up. You see on CNN.
Yeah, but the delegate prize is obviously California. That hasn't been decided. And, there's 415 delegates.
Oh, it's been decided. Bernie won. The question is the margin.
Right. And then also in Maine is still,
right.
The margin of victory is still undecided there, too.
Right.
But Biden won in states he didn't spend any money in, he didn't even campaign in. So I think there was something, too, that last-minute support from Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, and Beto.
There's two dynamics there. One is in the South, the African-American vote buoyed Biden. So that South there was real momentum and it ignited quickly. Or it was latent and it was looking for belief that Biden could win. And South Carolina gave them that belief and gave them the impetus to turn out. There's no question he dominated the African-American vote in those states where there is a significant African-American population and thus a significant African-American vote as part of the primary. That's one. And, when you look at him winning states he was not expected to win, like Minnesota, like Massachusetts, and being in a dead heat in Maine, all states that Bernie Sanders was supposed to win, you have to say that the combination of the rallying around Joe Biden and then the media's amplification of that rallying around had an impact. I mean, it seems to me those are the two dynamics.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment.
Now, Biden was in L.A. to celebrate these big victories. And, boy, he just can't go 5 minutes without an incident like this.
Oh, no.
They don't call Super Tuesday for nothing. By the way, this is my little sister, Valerie, and I'm Jill's husband. Oh, no, you switched on me. This is my wife. This is my sister. They switched on me.
Who's to my right? Who's to my left?
I don't...
Pick a chick and stick with it.
It's difficult to keep track of all those Bidens running around. Maybe they should do it by some sort of... sort of tag of where they made their money thanks to Joe Biden. It's just something helpful, some sort of identifier. Bernie was not giving up the proletariat revolution.
We are going to defeat Trump because we are putting together an unprecedented grassroots, multi-generational, multiracial movement.
Multiracial.
That's not coming together quite as robustly as he had hoped, clearly.
What makes this movement unique is we are taking on the corporate establishment.
So he's taking on Trump and the Democratic Party.
And
he's an independent. I mean,
he's a socialist, right?
Right.
And he, although he certainly has a home in the Democrat Party. I mean, I give you his young surrogates in the caucus, the AOCs and the Omars of the world. Sanders, also in his remarks in Vermont last night, tried to frame the race a little bit. One candidate is this and another candidate or two is that.
So we're going to beat Trump because this will become a contrast in ideas. We need a movement and are developing a movement of black, white, Latino, Native American, Asian American, gay and straight.
Uh-huh.
I've got it all covered.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, if this campaign, and I don't know what will happen, but if it comes out to be a campaign in which we have one candidate who is standing up for the working class and the middle class, we're going to win that election.
That would be him.
And if we have another candidate who has received contributions from at least 60 billionaires, we're going to win that election.
That would be Biden.
And if there is another candidate in the race who is spending hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, we're going to tell him in America, you cannot buy elections.
That would be Bloomberg, and that's not true because he bought American Samoa's election.
Yeah, he did win one. I mean, Elizabeth Warren, she got rocked. She didn't win one state. She came in third in Massachusetts in her own. So I can see her bowing out of the race soon, can't you?
Yeah, I don't understand.
I don't know how she could survive.
I don't see what the rationale is. And it's frankly the same for Bloomberg, even though the race remains very competitive between Biden and Bloomberg. And we'll see if between Biden and Bernie. Yeah. And we'll see if Bernie is able to resuscitate his campaign as you move into some of the Midwestern states like Illinois, which is just under 2 weeks away now, March 17th, but Michigan and other states. I'm sorry. Warren's camp was saying, at least the political reporting it the other day, we talked about it, that she has some sort of path to victory when other candidates drop out.
I don't understand.
And it's the same thing with Bloomberg. Bloomberg conceded yesterday that, he was in Florida, that his only possibility of gaining the nomination is through a brokered convention.
Somebody will have a plurality. By definition, somebody will have a plurality. And then you go to a convention, and then we'll see what happens in the convention. Is a contested convention?
Do you want a contested convention? Do you want a contested convention?
I don't think that I can win any other way.
Right, you can't win any other way. But so even if this is still tracking to have a real possibility of a brokered convention, that nobody gets the majority, what is the argument for Bloomberg? If you're not winning states, you go to the convention with the delegates you've piled up from second and mainly third and fourth place finishes, and American Samoa, and you say to the
I love American Samoa.
You say the super delegates. I'm the obvious candidate. So Elizabeth Warren, give me your delegates. Bernie or Biden, who's ever second, give me your delegates. Super delegates.
It's over for him.
Yeah,
it's a $500 million fail, and he's so smart. Listen to this. This is before. Well, this was, when people are voting yesterday.
Would a third place finish be good?
If there's only 3 candidates, you can't do worse than that.
Well, there's Elizabeth Warren also.
I didn't realize she's still in. Is she?
I mean, that guy has great comedic timing.
Oh, my God. I didn't know she's still in. She's still in. I mean, come on.
He's
a smug little, what.
He's a funny man. I mean, that guy, wow. Give it up at the Laugh Factory for Mike Bloomberg. I think that cameo appearance in the Curb Your Enthusiasm episode with Michael J. Fox a couple of seasons ago, I think it went to his head.
I think so, too.
He's just not that funny. You give up that routine. So Bloomberg and Steyer will have combined to spend about $750 billion for about what's Bloomberg at right now? Like 40 delegates, maybe less, but one victory in American territory. But Bloomberg still has the Northern Mariana Islands. He still has Guam. He still has Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico,
So he may not win states technically.
We're just going to call him the Island Man.
Yeah.
La 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 ka-ching.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hello, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and it's time for reparations. Reparations for the black communities are bigger than a single check. Reparations are an opportunity to repair the results from the African enslavement. the redlining, the war on drugs, police terrorists, and continued discrimination. It is time for an investment as Target, as the policies that create our divide. I'm asking you to support the bill I sponsor. Please call your state legislator.
Paid for by drwillywilsonfoundation.org.
Hi, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and I've dedicated my life in the service of others. As Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, life's most pressing and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? By supporting the reparation bill, I am working for the descendants of slaves to gain generation wealth, education, housing, jobs, and service for senior citizens. Call your state representative to support this bill. God bless.
Paid for by drwillywilsonfoundation.org.
Hey, did you know that right now is the best time to waterproof your basement or crawl space? It's true. And the folks over at Permaseal can guarantee that the problem you have before has not gone away. In fact, it can only get worse. So give Permaseal a call, 800-421-SEAL, 800-421-7325 to schedule a free inspection. And here are 3 good reasons to call them. Free, flexible, and fabulous. Yes, right now they're offering free 18-month same as cash financing. They have flexible scheduling so you can get your project done before the spring rains. And finally, they will deliver a fabulous customer experience. Just check out their 4.9-star rating on Google and A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. For a permanently dry basement and healthy home, call Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL, or go to permaseal.net.
If you have pain, listen up, Dennis Prager here. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You don't have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. So Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all of its side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you can be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com.
Famous conservative quotes, presented by Automated Systems.
Here's a Winston Churchill quote that rings truer than ever. There is nothing government can give you that it hasn't taken from you in the first place. That pretty much sums up the case for smaller government.
Manufacturing companies, I encourage you to call my friend Laz Kulchar from Automated Systems. Automated Systems is a software and systems integration company that specializes in companies that are required to meet FDA compliance requirements. Automated Systems will create a custom solution for your business that will make your production lines, facilities, and plants run more efficiently. Imagine less downtime, more speed, and fewer rejects. From Fortune 500 to startup, ASI delivers solutions for your toughest automation challenges. For information, I encourage you to talk to Laz at Automated Systems. Call 844-HIRE-ASI or visit hireasi.com. That's 844 HIREASI, 844-HIRE-ASI, or online at hireasi.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Talking Super Tuesday, Bert and Lake Zurich, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, guys, I was just wondering, since Amy really likes to talk about the coronavirus, if she had any comments on Mike Bloomberg eating the pizza at the campaign headquarters and then licking his fingers.
Oh, that's so disgusting.
At least he was licking his own fingers.
How could he do that in this day and age? That's irresponsible.
Yeah. Okay. The staff is paid well enough to risk the coronavirus. Ed in Oak Brook.
Yeah, it was fascinating last night watching all the pundits. They were absolutely wrong on everything. But the fact is, Bloomberg's staying in because he could buy the DNC. He could buy all of these candidates that are running for state rep like Sean Casten. That's why he's staying in. He's got a very good shot of winning this if it's a brokered convention because he could just buy everybody.
I don't think so.
In fact, he could probably change the party to Bloomberg Party.
Well, thanks for the call, Ed, but I don't think that's what's happening, and I don't think he wants to buy it. I think he may just wanted to try to buy the nomination, and Super Tuesday was supposed to be him putting a stake in the ground, and it just didn't happen. I don't think so. I think, he doesn't have any more TV time bought at this point. and we'll see if he ever does.
Because they're reassessing in New York this morning, and I don't think he'll be back. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
All right, so it's Biden and Bernie. Who do you want to face if you're President Trump at 5:38?
We'll take your calls, 312-642-5600. And later, one of the real reasons why Biden loves Mayor Pete. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
37 degrees at 5:31. Former Vice President Joe Biden celebrating after a strong Super Tuesday.
People are talking about a revolution. We started a movement. We've increased turnout. The turnout's turned out for us.
He claimed victory in 9 states, including Texas. Senator Bernie Sanders appears to have won California and 415 delegates.
We are going to defeat Trump because we are putting together an unprecedented grassroots, multi-generational, multiracial movement.
Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg reconsidering his presidential campaign after a poor performance.
And if I'm the nominee, let me make you this promise. We will beat Donald Trump here in Florida and swing states around the country.
Bloomberg meeting with his campaign advisors this morning to reassess whether to stay in the race. Down ballot, here's one of the more interesting races we've noticed this morning. Former Attorney General Jeff Sessions is advancing in the race for Alabama's U.S. Senate seat.
I have some terrible news for Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, and Chuck Schumer. Doug Jones's brief visit in the United States Senate is just about over.
Sessions received just enough votes in the primary to face off against this very famous Auburn football coach, Tommy Tuberville, in the runoff on March 31st. Then the winner will face off against Democrat incumbent Senator Doug Jones. Parts of the South bracing for another round of severe thunderstorms and other storms today, a day after tornadoes killed at least 24 in Tennessee. Governor Bill Lee.
Our prayers are greatly needed for families out there who are dealing with a sudden tragic event.
As of last night, 24 were reported dead, many more unaccounted for, down from earlier reports of 25. Pentagon saying U.S. forces have carried out an airstrike against the Taliban in southern Afghanistan. First attack since the two sides signed a peace deal on Saturday. It was a defensive strike to disrupt a Taliban attack on Afghan forces. Coronavirus deaths are on the rise in Washington state. 3 more deaths were connected to the outbreak on Tuesday, bringing the U.S. death toll to 9, mostly grouped around patients in Washington state. A baby is dead. At least 8 others are hurt following a house fire on Chicago's southwest side. Police tell us this morning the blaze broke out late last night in the attic of a single-family home near 60th and Kenneth. Starter Dallas Keuchel's making quite an impression on his new White Sox teammates during spring training. USA Today's Bob Nightingale reports this morning the former Cy Young Award winner treated 125 players, coaches, and assorted members of the organization to a steak dinner at a Glendale, Arizona steakhouse. Total cost? Around $25,000. Dylan Strom scored 2 of the Blackhawks' 4 second-period goals. They beat the Ducks 6-2 at the UC. Cubs fell to the Rockies. White Sox fell to the A's in Glendale. And at 5:34, we'll have a check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560, The Answer.
Why did all this come out on Bloomberg?
The Sean Hannity Show.
Because Bloomberg had spent $500 million and he was getting close. This came from Democrats. If I had to say the likely culprit, again, educated guess, 31 years on radio, 24 years at Fox, I'd be looking right at the Biden campaign because they know how to play this game better than anybody.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Steve Cortez at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Frank Vance, co-owner of Egan Vance Insurance Agency on Chicago's Northwest Side and a customer of Signature Bank. In my line of work, we pride ourselves on being there for our clients when they need it the most, and we recognize when someone does the same for us. As Egan Vance was expanding, we wanted to buy a much sought-after building in the neighborhood. We couldn't waste any time. I called Signature Bank, and that was all it took. I didn't have to talk to multiple people in siloed departments with multiple forms to fill out. One call did it all. As the one who was always looking out for my clients, it was a great change to know that my bank, Signature Bank, was looking out for me.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
As time goes by, we can all use a little more help getting around. Staying mobile and independent can be tough for some, especially our aging loved ones. When you need assistance finding the right quality products to make life easier and more enjoyable, there's Mars Medical Supply. Home medical equipment and supplies to keep you or someone you care for independent and mobile. Whether it's living with certain medical conditions and disorders or recovering from injuries and surgeries that are difficult to cope with, shopping for specialty products can be frustrating. The Mars Medical Consultants will help you find the right solution and feature a full line of lift chairs, scooters, knee walkers, power wheelchairs, and rollator walkers. There's also financing available on purchases over $200 through Care Credit to help you get the products you need right away. For home medical equipment and supplies, rely on Mars Medical Supply, 333 West Maple Street in New Lenox. Browse products and featured items online at marsmedicalsupply.com. Mars Medical, keeping you independent and mobile for over 30 years, with customer care that's out of this world.
5:37. Let's get a check on the roads this morning in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Jim Talamonte.
The Wednesday morning commute is off to a pretty smooth start right now in and around Chicago. Bishop Ford Freeway inbound traffic is slowed down between 115th and 103rd Street. You're looking at about a 2 or 3 minute delay. I-57 traffic is light. Outbound, the entrance from eastbound 167th is closed. Construction till 6 this morning. The other overnight work in the area has cleared. Everything is open again at the Eisenhower and the Burn Circle. The outbound Ike had been closed. Approaching the circle, the ramp from Lower Wacker, Ida B. Wells, the Ike, that's reopened as well. Right now we see no incidents or delays on the other expressways and tollways in the Chicago area. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1 hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Rain and snow showers across the area right now and through the early morning. Otherwise, later in the day, we'll see clearing skies and breezy conditions, a high of 47. Clear to partly cloudy, 32 overnight. It is 38 at O'Hare, 40 Lakefront. Again, rain and snow flurries crossing the area right now. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Who would you rather Trump face if you want Trump to be reelected? Bernie or Biden? I think, I've said from the outset, and I will continue to say, Biden is the weakest candidate for Trump. Even when a lot of our colleagues were, Hugh Hewitt and others were talking about, I want the socialism versus capitalism. I think it's clean. The Democrat establishment is terrified. That's a good signal. Bernie is the weakest candidate for Trump. He'll win 45 states. He'll win 49 states, all sorts of predictions. I don't think so. But the arguments for Bernie versus Biden in the context of who do you want Trump to face if you want him to be reelected? Who presents the weakest challenge to Trump? And I think Biden is some combination of Bob Dole in 1996 and Mitt Romney in 2012. Bob Dole in 1996 because there's just so much built-up Beltway inertia behind him over 4 decades, really. But of course, Dole didn't face a significant challenge to his nomination. I mean, he got out of the gate a little bit slowly, but if you'll remember, he ended up winning, I think, 46 of the contests versus Steve Forbes and Pat Buchanan. Biden is a little bit more like what's happened to Romney is a little bit more like what's happened to Biden.
Oh, yeah.
Over the last several months, which is
We've seen this movie before.
well, which is Biden starts out with sort of perceived frontrunner status last summer, and
then Iowa and New Hampshire happened.
Well, he stumbles along the way, and then Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nevada happen. But all these other candidates were sort of measured and assessed and found wanting. And so then you flee back to safety with the help of the frenzy that the media whipped up on behalf of the Democrat Party establishment, whom they serve after Joe Biden wins South Carolina.
They were giddy as giddy could be this morning. Biden is back.
I don't. I no, not spoiler alert here with respect to Dole and Romney, but it didn't work out well for them, and that was before this sort of volatile landscape that is with significant elements of anti-establishmentarianism in both parties. So,
But I think Joe Biden enjoys being the underdog.
For those who've been knocked down, counted out, left behind, this is your campaign. Just a few days ago, the press and the pundits had declared the campaign dead. And then came South Carolina. They had something to say about it. And we're told, well, when you got to Super Tuesday, it'd be over. Well, it may be over for the other guy.
Mike on Crown Point, Indiana. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I kind of feel both candidates have their own built-in poison pill. If they go with Bernie, they obviously problems with communism. If they go with Biden, all the Bernie supporters are going to leave. They'll have basically a half a party running against a full steam of a Republican Party that's been successful with Trump. I feel like a little kid that knows he's either going to get a Daisy BB gun for Christmas or a Schwinn Stingray bike. I really don't care which one of them wins. Talk to you later.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah,
I think it'd be more interesting if it was Bernie. Now it's just going to be a turkey shoot, really. I mean, it's...
I don't know that that's true about Bernie supporters leaving Biden en masse, not turning out because their guy didn't get across the finish line, so long as Biden wins it fair and square. It's one thing if Bernie goes into the convention as the delegate leader and then loses on a second ballot. That's one. It's another thing if you go through these contests like you did last night and Biden wins fair and square and he goes into the convention, let's just say, that is still some controversy, as the leader with the plurality of the delegates, not a majority but a plurality, then what's the argument? And then they vote to the convention confirms Biden as the nominee in that scenario. Then what's your real argument if you're a Bernie bro? It didn't get stolen from you this time. So that to me is yet to be decided after Biden's performance last night. Anthony in Plainfield.
Thanks for taking my call. I'd prefer to fight Biden than Bernie, and here's why. Bernie's got died-hard followers that will walk precincts, put up signs, work very hard for him. And that energy can't be bought. That's got to be something that's internal. They're connected to him. And I don't believe that those people will transfer easily over to Biden. They're not going to do it. And Biden just doesn't inspire. Biden's okay, he's the guy, he's the inside guy, but that's not enough. And Trump will destroy both of them, no doubt about it, but it'll be more interesting to hear him cross swords with Biden. I think Biden is a better challenger for Trump.
All right, thanks for the call.
I mean, can you imagine them debating Biden? He'll have to take a nap halfway through the debate.
Yeah, I don't know that Sleepy Joe is the way to go after Joe Biden. I don't know about that. I think you have to figure out a way to have a bit of a combo. Think of the Portillo's combo. You want your beef and your sausage.
Right.
So with Biden, you want your incompetence and your corrupt. Okay. And that's not easy it's not an easy needle to thread because on the one hand, you're saying he's sort of an empty vessel and a buffoon and perhaps bordering on senile.
On the other hand, you're saying he's sort of this corrupt mastermind who leveraged his office to provide his family members with millions upon millions of dollars, as so documented in the Peter Schweitzer book. I think you can make the play for both, but you have to be precise about it. You know, he's buffoonish, and in a ham-handed way, he leveraged his office for transparently. He doesn't think so, but everybody else will, based on the evidence, leverage his office for self-enrichment, for familial enrichment. And that Peter Schweitzer piece, just like Clinton Cash was in 2016, that's a big piece. Now, here's the thing. One of the differences between Biden and Bernie that redounds to the benefit of Biden, he's just more likable. He's more likable than Bernie. And likability matters.
And one of the reasons,
complicated.
And this is an ancillary issue, but we need to hear it. Why he was happy to have Pete Buttigieg's endorsement.
Why do we have to hear it?
Because it's good. Because it's the human side of Joe Biden.
It reminds me of my son Bo, and I know that may not mean much to most people, but to me, it's the highest compliment I could give any man or woman.
Yeah, that's very convenient. You'll excuse me if I don't believe a guy who has pathologically lied for 3 decades. And that's the other piece of this too. You know, he's bumbling and stumbling like a fox. That was sort of Mark Stein's comment on Biden on Tucker Carlson the other night.
All the party elders, if you're the minder of a politician, the last thing you want is a politician with a mind of his own. You just want one who does what you tell him to do. So for the minders, a candidate who's completely lost his mind is actually the perfect candidate. The more he does this, the more he says, hey, thanks a lot, Chuck.
Yeah, there's something to that, but and there's something to this whole idea that this argument has sort of become conventional wisdom in Trump land. That everything is explained by the establishment wanting to keep their sinecures, their positions of status on the Sunday talkies and on the speaking tour, and this includes the Never-Trumpers, people like Bill Kristol, at the expense of anything. And winning is sort of secondary. If you're a Democrat, winning the presidency is secondary. If you're a Republican, if you're one of these Never-Trump Republicans, you want Trump out so that you can get back to the life that you had before Trump. There is something to that, but it doesn't explain everything. For example, you can also be a sober Democrat and look at the polling that we've talked about on this show with respect to how socialism is viewed by name among the general electorate, and understand that anybody who is branded a socialist and is spending his time finding the silver linings in communist dictatorships from the last 50 years is going to have a real problem in a general election and is going to be an albatross around the necks of Democrats in swing districts around the country. And you can not be part of some, Illuminati type establishment in the Democrat Party. So I think it's a little bit more nuanced than just the singular argument that, for example, Rush Limbaugh was advancing the other night about this. All this Joe Biden stuff is just about the establishment rallying around him as their vessel to maintain their positions, even though they know he's Walter Mondale Part Deux. I think it's more complicated.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line.
Jenny in Madison.
Hi, yes. I'm rooting for Bernie just because I'm not getting any younger, and I want to be in part of this fight with socialism versus freedom. Let's do it. Let's get it on. The world needs to see, the nation needs to see what communism really is, and I think that Bernie and his buddies will show us.
Yeah, all right. That's a fair argument, Jenny. Thanks for the call. I mean, you're certainly putting them side by side, and frankly, hopefully, if the campaign was prosecuted properly, providing an education to generations that didn't necessarily live through the Cold War and obviously aren't being properly instructed about it in school systems around America. So that's a fair point. I understand that perspective. Tom in Deer Park.
Well, good morning, Dan and Amy. Dan, you said quite a bit about what I might have wanted to say, but I'll say that yesterday was Trump and Trump world's biggest nightmare. They wanted to face Bernie Sanders because of some of what you said, that he is a communist. He'll drag the party, the Democrat Party down. He'll drag it down. And while Joe Biden is terrible on Title IX, which has destroyed lives, he's terrible on life. He's murdered, killed a lot of innocent lives, and he's also terrible on the Second Amendment. There's plenty of people on the left and many people on the right that want to see Trump vanquished. He can still be on television. He can still be on Twitter. All his fans and followers can still get a daily dose of him. But Trump belongs nowhere near a government office. He belongs nowhere near the Republican Party. He's already destroyed the conservative movement, and I just hope it can get its feet back with him gone.
Okay, there's the perspective of the Never Trumper. Thanks, Tom. There's a lot of people on the right that want to see Trump gone. Guy with 95% approval rating in the party. Not exactly. And to your point on some core issues, particularly issues that have a lot of emotion attached to them, how do you think this is going to play among anybody on the right who doesn't have a sinecure to protect or status they're seeking, like Bill Kristol? Joe Biden with Bobby O in Texas the other day. You mentioned, Tom in Deer Park, you mentioned how bad Joe Biden is on guns.
He's going to make him the gun czar.
It's going to get worse.
I want to make something clear. I'm going to guarantee you this is not last year's scene of this guy. You're going to take care of the gun problem with me. You're going to be the one that leads this effort. I'm counting on you.
Yeah, how do you think those blue dog Democrats in swing states are going to react to that? I mean, you're talking about Bobby O. This is a gun confiscator.
Right.
Like, come into your homes and we're taking the guns that I say should not be legal. And we're also going to find out what your church is, and we're going to remove its 501c3 status while we're at it, just to kill two birds with one stone. Yeah, good luck selling that. Joe Biden has given the Trump campaign a lot of fodder over the last couple of days. And this campaign, as he has been pushed even further left than where he started. And where he started was pretty far left. It's not so long ago that Joe Biden was one of the most liberal members of the United States Senate. And this election has him echoing Bernie Sanders talking about imprisoning fossil fuel company executives just because they're fossil fuel company executives. Ridiculous. You want to talk about authoritarian and unconstitutional, obviously. So, yeah, don't put too much weight in Bill Kristol's endorsement of Joe Biden. Randy in Crown Point.
Morning, guys. The only concern I have with Joe Biden is Pennsylvania. And nowhere else that Trump won would Joe Biden be able to take him out in. In Pennsylvania, that is one state that would absolutely, that I fear would absolutely go back to the Joe Biden roots that it has always been. I mean, he's not going to take Michigan because of Joe Biden. Joe Biden is not liked in Michigan. There's not a lot of movement there except for Pennsylvania. So that's the only reason Joe Biden is a concern to me. Otherwise, I think that you get either one. It doesn't really matter except for Pennsylvania.
All right, Randy. Thanks. Craig in Mount Greenwood.
Oh, hey, Dan and Amy. Thanks for taking the call. Well, first of all those politicians, they're all rotten and corrupt and filling their pockets and getting their families rich. But Biden, him being so stupid and everything and so out in the open and basically not being able to take and cover his tracks as well as everybody else, Trump will have a field day with that guy. And these people that are never Trumpers and will basically go like for a Biden or whatever instead of sticking with Trump and everything, it just goes to show how small-minded they are, that they would basically give up this country and let this country be destroyed and further damaged just to take and get Trump out of there. That sickens me when I hear someone say stuff. They'd go for someone other than Trump just because they're dislike for Trump. Trump does a ton of stuff that's all good for the country and for the small person. Us, all of us, really.
Thanks, Craig.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results vary. Exclusions apply.
Contacts and glasses are such a hassle. I'd love to finally get LASIK, but
I'm going to stop you right there. If you want LASIK, then the LASIK Vision Institute has officially taken away everything standing in your way.
Isn't LASIK expensive?
Not at the LASIK Vision Institute. We're offering dramatically low prices, as low as $220 per eye, and an absolutely free consultation. See for free if LASIK is right for you by texting LIKE to 350350.
But I'm really busy.
A text only takes seconds. The LASIK procedure typically only takes 15 minutes, and most patients can get back to work the following day. The LASIK Vision Institute uses the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision for as little as $220 per eye. Dr. Greenberg has performed 75,000 laser eye surgeries and is one of the most experienced LASIK surgeons in Chicago.
What's that text again?
Text LIKE to 350350. That's LIKE to 350350 to schedule your free consultation today.
Transferring paper files to digital used to be complicated and expensive. Data and document capture had many IT layers involved. It was expensive, time-consuming, and labor-intensive. Not anymore, thanks to the Alaris Infuse Smart Connected Scanning Solution from Kodak Alaris and IDT. The Alaris Infuse solution makes data and document capture easy, and it's powered by Capsys Capture Online. Within a matter of minutes, you'll be able to accurately and reliably onboard content with instant notification of data issues, making the entire capture process smarter and more efficient. IDT can show you how to onboard content and make point-of-origin capture simple with the Alaris Infuse solution.
Relieve the burden of managing and maintaining business systems with IDT, helping your business keep pace with the evolution of information production and management. Set up a consultation today. Visit ready4idt.com. That's ready, the number 4, IDT.com. Or call 877-SCAN-IDT. IDT, putting paper in its place.
Hi, I'm Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt, Hall of Fame baseball player. For me, swinging the bat and chasing my kids, it caught up with me. So I used Ecoderm, Relief Cream plus full spectrum CBD. It really made a difference, and it might be right for you too. I want to send you a free sample of Ecoderm, Relief Cream plus full spectrum CBD. Just text Ecoderm to 31996. This lab-tested cream from EcoSciences uses the highest quality hemp with the richest profiles on the market. We've been making quality CBD products for almost a decade and want to share this revolutionary cream with you today. Find out what this CBD craze is all about and if it really works for you. Ecoderm. Try it for free by texting Ecoderm to 31996. Text Ecoderm to 31996.
Text Ecoderm to 31996 now for your free sample from Frank Thomas while supplies last.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
How coronavirus is jeopardizing marriages at 6:06.
Oh, no. Or are they fighting over Clorox wipes? And now let's go to the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
A baby killed, 8 others hurt in a Southwest Side blaze. We'll have new details on this developing story from overnight in just a moment. Family of a man shot and killed by a Chicago police officer awarded $1 million. Possible carbon monoxide-related death on the South Side is being investigated. The Archdiocese of Chicago issuing new coronavirus guidelines. And a patient at the University of Chicago Medical Center testing negative for COVID-19. Demolition is set to begin today on A.J. Friend's Crystal Lake home, and the Blackhawks beat the Ducks last night. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. Joe Biden surges on Super Tuesday. I'm Dave Anthony.
Just a few days ago, the press and the pundits had declared the campaign dead.
Instead, Biden won 9 of the 14 Democratic primaries, getting more than 50% of the vote in Alabama and Virginia. Bernie Sanders won 4 states, including the biggest Super Tuesday prize, California.
I tell you with absolute confidence, we are going to win the Democratic nomination.
But for now, Biden has seized the delegate lead. The biggest state he won, Texas. Fox's Evan Brown is live in Austin.
Yeah, Dave, Joe Biden certainly ended Super Tuesday, or by that time it was Wednesday, defying all the political fortune tellers by winning here in Texas following some very tight vote counts.
And we're told, well, when you got to Super Tuesday, it'd be over. Well, it may be over for the other guy.
And Texas Democrats were also quick to point out that the reason vote counting took so long was that so many Democrats came out to vote. The work of theirs spending 2 years and tens of millions of dollars in voter registration efforts. Long lines were reported at polling stations around the state at closing time, and all those people had to be allowed to vote, Dave.
Even the voting's too close to call still in Maine. Mike Bloomberg did get a small win in the American Samoa caucuses, but both he and Elizabeth Warren finished far back of Biden and Sanders.
She sent out an email to supporters saying, in part, quote, there are 6 more primaries just 1 week away, and we need your help.
Fox's Griff Jenkins. Republicans also voted in 13 states. President Trump won all the primaries. Big. 88% of the vote in at least each one. Now, hours after the president talked to the Taliban's leader following that peace deal signing that'll have U.S. troops coming home from Afghanistan, the U.S. launched an airstrike targeting Taliban militants who'd attacked an Afghan checkpoint. Dozens of people are still missing after the tornadoes that tore through Tennessee, killing at least 24 others in the Nashville area. Crews in Putnam County were going through the night searching for those unaccounted for in the debris. America's listening to Fox News.
Light rain and a few snow flurries in the area. 37 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A baby is dead. At least 8 others are hurt following a house fire on Chicago's southwest side. Police tell us this morning the blaze broke out late last night in the attic of a single-family home near 60th and Kenneth. Authorities are investigating after a man suspected of carbon monoxide poisoning on Chicago's south side. Police say a carbon monoxide alarm went off inside an apartment building last night in the 800 block of East 53rd Street. Fire crews located a unit with a stove on, which led to the alarm going off. Officials at the University of Chicago Medical Center confirming that a patient who was admitted suspected of having the coronavirus who was being treated has tested negative. Chicago State University men's basketball team will not play 2 upcoming road games due to COVID-19 concerns. The Cougars informing the WAC they will not travel to play its Thursday road game against Seattle, and Saturday they will not travel to Utah to play Utah Valley State. Well, it might be a good thing anyway. The Cougars are currently on a 19-game losing streak. In other news this morning, an unruly passenger being blamed for an American Airlines flight landing early in St. Louis. The flight from Chicago to Dallas was diverted to Lambert International last night because of a disturbance with a passenger who was removed without incident. Separate federal juries have found that a Chicago police officer wrongly indulged in conduct resulting in the fatal shooting of a suspect and the false confession and imprisonment of an alleged rape suspect. One federal jury found a police sergeant was unjustified in the shooting of 19-year-old Kawan Ray. Meantime, another jury awarded $5.2 million to Stanley Rice, who now claims 2 retired Chicago police officers beat him into confessing that he had a role in a September 1982 gang rape. Those 2 worked under disgraced police commander John Burge. Blackhawks over the Ducks 6-2 last night. Cubs fell to the Rockies. White Sox lost to the A's in Glendale. The News is a service of Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. The weather gets better. The commute gets easier when you love where you live. The team at Rocket Mortgage knows that, and they can help make your dream of home ownership a reality. Rocket Mortgage, push button, get mortgage. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager believes you need to follow the money.
For a scientist now to say anything that is any way different from the world is coming to an end is not only to court the end of your career, but it is to receive no funds. The money, man, the billions are in hysteria.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
When you're diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer,
a million questions flood your mind.
how can this be happening? Am I going to be able to work?
What's a subtype?
What do I do now? We know.
We went through it too.
But once you start to understand your options, you can partner with your doctor
And find ways to face MBC on your own terms.
Visit findyourmbcvoice.com and learn how to speak up and have a more informed conversation with your doctor.
Some questions have answers. Visit findyourmbcvoice.com to find some of yours.
Doesn't it seem like things are always getting more expensive? Groceries, the rent, even utilities. Cost of living is up, but Allstate can help lower your cost of driving. With new lower auto rates in Illinois, you get the same high-quality coverage and hands-on expertise from a local Allstate agent. Now with new lower rates, you're in good hands with Allstate.
If you haven't quoted Allstate lately, it's the perfect time. Get a quote today. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Savings vary.
Do it right to save 5% every day by shopping at Lowe's in-store or online. Save 5% on eligible purchases just by using your Lowe's Advantage card. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Subject to credit approval, cannot be combined with other credit offers. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.
It is 6:07. Time to call Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL, and time to check the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Bishopport Freeway inbound traffic is stop and go from Stony Island to Merge. We're looking at about 22 minutes from 8094 to the right. I-57 has delays starting around 107th Street. 19 minutes I-80 to the right. Outbound some road work at 167th is wrapping up. The inbound Ryan, then, your delays right now are from 69th to the Skyway. 31st to the Stevenson and 18th Street into the Burns Circle. 19 minutes, 95th to downtown. Outbound it's clear. The Eden looks good. Down Kennedy, got a 2-minute delay Harlem to Central. On Eisenhower, 5 minutes worth of delays in pockets between Manheim and downtown. Down Stevenson, now running 36 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Tollways are still pretty light. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Here's our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
A rain or snow shower around the area this morning, otherwise breezy. Clouds give way to some sun today, the high 47. Clear to partly cloudy tonight, low 32. Partly sunny, mild day, breezy tomorrow, the high 52. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
37 at O'Hare, 39 Lakefront. Rain and snow showers across the area this morning. Your next news update is at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and has your work situation changed, or do you anticipate it changing? Do you want it to change? In other words, do you want to work from home? Twitter is telling its employees to work from home. Morgan Stanley doing the same, I think I saw. This piece.
Ford, I know Ford Motor Company, they're not allowing anybody to travel because 2 of their employees in China, okay, they're in China, have the coronavirus.
This piece in Wall Street Journal from former FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb and a medical and biodefense preparedness policy expert, Luciano Borio from a security company. They suggest that COVID-19 may have you working at home, The usual flu season advice applies. Wash your hands frequently, with hot water and soap like Stalin did, so on and so forth.
Not cold water.
Don't lick your fingers after you eat pizza at a campaign office, those sorts of things.
Yeah, like Bloomberg did. Gross.
But they also write, Singapore suspended mass gatherings at schools and elder care facilities immediately after detecting local disease transmission. This appears to have slowed the number of new infections, but there are trade-offs. It's important to acknowledge that these measures can cost workers money and even their jobs. The coming weeks will be hard as more Americans become infected. Some die of the disease, as 9 already have. Mitigation efforts will be disrupted, but these steps are the best defense until innovation can produce effective treatment or vaccine that can arrest the virus's spread. And we're talking about more than 100 cases spread across 15 states at present, and as I mentioned, 9 dead.
There's 125 cases this morning.
Do you want? So, what about the idea of having the government intercede to, semi-democrat / authoritarian countries like Singapore, having the government intercede to break up mass gatherings, to cancel school for a month, to eliminate, to mandate that you are allowed to work from home if you're otherwise able, if you're in, a job that doesn't require you to be on an assembly line, for example.
Well, what about us working from home if we get sick or if we're worried about spreading it? I mean, could we?
Since you're asking that question for yourself, why don't you answer it?
I think because I could Skype in, and it would sound wonderful, like as if I'm sitting here with you. But we don't have too many people in the building. I mean, I take precautions. Every morning I came in with a Clorox wipe, and I wipe down the elevator buttons. They say that's dirtier than any toilet seat in the world. Things like the microwave oven, things that everybody touches the buttons on. Microwave oven, elevator, computer. Clean up my workspace. But I don't like, what I'm worried about is because I've become quite friendly with the gentleman who is tested positive for coronavirus, has no symptoms, and I call him every day. He's in Texas at at a hospital there with 12 other people from that Diamond Princess cruise. None of them are in severe condition. They can't leave. They have a guard outside the door. They don't have internet access. They're being fed poorly, and that scares me that they can't leave. The door is locked, and that's why I get panicky, because I don't want the government coming and taking me away or my children or locking us in our houses, saying you have to stay in your house, and if you try to leave your home, that they'll come and get you.
Didn't you say you just say you wanted to Skype in?
Yeah.
So which is it?
I'm saying if I feel sick, I would like to have that option of Skyping in.
Well, but I thought the whole issue was you have to find out. Sometimes people are asymptomatic,
Right.
but infected, and so should we be mandating, out of an abundance of caution, that people who are able work from home, and that people who are infected obviously are quarantined? Should we be canceling school for an extended period of time, canceling mass gatherings, eliminating NBA games, stopping campaign rallies, and so on and so forth?
Not having people go to March Madness. They want the games played, but they don't want fans in the stands. 312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment. I mean, we have 4 confirmed cases, a possible 5th patient. They tested that gentleman for COVID-19 yesterday, and he's at University of Chicago Medical Center. I don't think it's risen to that yet. I mean, right now I want to keep calm and carry on. But I don't like that all these companies are canceling, like rewards trips that they had, business meetings, McCormick Place, the home show. They're not having that March 14th through the 17th, and that's costing people tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, that's going to cost the city with hotels and restaurants. That's going to cost... we're going to take a huge hit.
Oh, exactly. And I mean, look, particularly I'm very concerned about the city of Chicago's coffers. I mean, if we have to sacrifice some people to make sure that the city of Chicago is able to extract whatever revenue it can from whatever economic activity still subsists in Chicago despite its policies, then we have to do that. That's sarcasm, by the way, in case you didn't pick up on that.
I picked it up.
Yeah. But I think it's a complicated question, as the quarantine question is complicated. I'm a minarchist when it comes to government intervention in our lives. But there's certainly, even libertarians will concede a role for the state when it comes to stopping the spread of contagious diseases. Martial law is not the level of intervention that is legitimate, but some regulation of people who are sick, some precautionary measures in public places like K through 12 school systems is not a ridiculous question to ask. And so then, what are the levels of intervention and detention in some cases that are acceptable to people that, want to live free or die? Many of us.
Many of you.
Not
right.
not so much Chicago. I mean, Chicago residents, Illinois residents are happy to be wards of the state. But I mean, a lot of places people want to live free or die.
Right.
Yeah, so I just want to distinguish those two. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. This is not a license for panic, by the way, and I don't like panic when it comes to the public health response, and I don't like panic when it comes to the economic health response. And so that 50 basis point cut in the interest rates by the Fed yesterday was a terrible idea. And the market said so. It essentially fomented panic rather than calming the markets, created more uncertainty rather than ameliorating the uncertainty of the federal response and the sense that there's a handle on the spread of this virus.
Yeah, and here's CNBC's Jim Cramer. Okay, maybe not.
Jim, you got to speak up.
I've been trying to be bullish, but I can't. But this is like, wow, okay, 50 basis points. I guess the claims are going to be bad. I guess that we're going to have a real slowdown here. And I just wish that we had some great doctors and some great drug companies that could solve this. And we can take back and add 50. I don't care. But I'm now nervous. I'm more nervous than I was before.
Yeah, exactly. To my point, there's all sorts of illustrations of the folly of the central planner, and yesterday's action by the Fed is one of them. It's not pro-growth. As the Wall Street Journal opined on the 50 basis point cut in the rate, nobody's going to take a flight to Tokyo because the Fed is suddenly paying less on excess reserves. Yeah. The other concern is whether the Fed will have the nerve to raise rates again if the pandemic damage turns out to be less than feared. It won't be easy in an election year. November's 8 months away. And so this cut came after Mnuchin and Powell had a conference call with G7 central bankers. And this race to ZIRP, zero interest rate policy, is idiotic. I know President Trump is a fan of it. He's wrong. Wrong. It's terrible public policy. You're talking about doing real damage to financial institutions and by extension, the U.S. economy. I know there's jitters about the people raising the specter of the R word because of coronavirus. But manage the federal response. Don't panic on the economic response. And let this thing breathe a little bit in terms of, I'm talking about the responses, both from the government in terms of the public health officials providing instruction on how best to contain the spread of the virus within the bounds of our constitutional order, and allowing the American people to get back to normalcy just as quickly as possible, with the fundamentals of the economy otherwise being fairly sound. That, to me, is a better play. Yesterday felt like the pushing a panic button by the Fed and by the administration, particularly after Trump tweeted that he wanted more than a 50 basis point cut. Jane in Libertyville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, Dan. I just had a question. I have heard in several places that they think that this virus started in China, like in December. And if that's the case, we have a lot of flights coming over here from there beforehand. Is it possible? I mean, it seems to me it stands to reason that we might have had this long before we realized it, and it really isn't as bad as they're saying.
Yes, thanks for the call, Jane. I think that's well said. Right. There's no doubt we realize that this was being distributed spread
Long
before we realized
cut off
it.
flights.
Yeah, I
to
mean,
China and other parts.
So Taiwan took action in December. China was, giving us their agitprop and giving the world its propaganda so as not to further destabilize a regime that's already been destabilized by protests in Hong Kong. And not to mention the trade war, which has been a negative to their economic growth over the last 2 years.
And in Washington State, health officials there say it's been there for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Because they have direct flights from Seattle to Beijing, and everything goes through Wuhan.
And you're right. There's probably, I don't know. I'm not an infectious disease specialist, but you hear from them, and people suggest there's 100 odd cases right now. That I'm sure there are several thousand more Americans who are infected at various levels. The good news about COVID-19 is that it's not a Tolian fever. You have to realize you have to treat it before you realize you have it, because by the time you realize you have it, you're dead. That's not this.
What?
And I just go back to saying this over and over and over again, because the spread is not as bad as one would expect, given what everybody talks about, how easily this is transmitted, number one. And number two, obviously the lethality rate is exceedingly low, comparable to flu. And, oh, by the way, 18,000 some odd Americans between October and present dead from the flu. And we're talking about 9 so far. I hate to make those comparisons, but just to give you order of magnitude, we're talking about 9 so far with respect to corona.
And 7 of those 9 are in the same elderly home in Washington. And did you hear what Channel 7 did? ABC, they have 4 employees who they've asked to stay away from work out of concern they may have been exposed to the coronavirus. Get this. So the action was taken, quote, out of an abundance of caution after an ABC 7 reporter and photographer interviewed a food service worker at Northwest Community Hospital in Arlington Heights, where a corona patient was being treated. A second photographer who shook hands with the first one during a shift change was told not to come to work, and the wife of the first photographer was also employed at the station, was offered the opportunity to stay home because they shook someone's hand who works at Northwest Community Hospital. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, this is becoming a little bit of like a game of telephone here.
This is ridiculous. Oh, my, please. They don't feel sick. They don't have any symptoms. They just ask them to stay home.
So you're coming out of your hyperbaric chamber. You feel more comfortable being out in a public setting now.
Yeah.
The nuclear fallout shelter residency is now over.
Yeah, and I've been talking to a lot of infectious disease, and we're going to have a great guy on tomorrow at 8:30, who was the infectious disease director at Advocate Lutheran General Hospital, who really calmed me down and said, why don't all these reporters talk about how many people died from the flu last week at hospitals in the area?
Right. Pour over the details of every case of the flu. That's right. Also, it's impacting marriages.
Oh, yeah. This is...
Lithuanian man worried about catching the coronavirus threw domestic bliss out the window by locking his wife in the bathroom for fear she might have the deadly illness. Well, yeah. He found out that his wife had met a Chinese woman who had traveled to Italy. He claimed to have forced her into his own personal quarantine in their apartment in Vilnius, capital of Lithuania.
Yeah.
After consulting on the phone with doctors how to keep COVID-19 at bay. His wife called the cops from the bathroom, asked for help. She was tested for the virus, found to be clear, declined to press charges against her husband. There's only one confirmed case of coronavirus in Lithuania so far, and she wasn't it. So, this is. Here's the thing. This is going to be used as a thinly veiled predicate to have spouses start doing their own quarantines of their spouse and using the old coronavirus defense.
I don't have a headache anymore. I've got the corona.
Tom in Evergreen Park. Hey, Tom.
Tom.
Morning. With regard to that lady that mentioned that she thought it perhaps started in December, if you examine the chart for gold, it went sort of parabolic right mid-December, which would indicate that somebody was wise to the fact that something was coming.
Thanks for the call, Tom. Well, yeah, thanks for the call, Tom. I don't know if they knew a virus was coming, but a lot of people were looking for a reason, right, because of the bull market run to take their profits and get out. And who is it? Was it? Who is it? I can't remember which financial guru said this, but he said, it's not the size of the pin that matters when you're talking about popping a balloon. A small pin can pop a balloon.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
After 25 years of building websites for all kinds of companies in many different industries, AmericanEagle.com realized a well-designed website is also your best employee, bringing efficiency, revenue, production, showing up every day, giving above and beyond to increase your bottom line. That's what a website designed, developed, and hosted by AmericanEagle.com has brought to so many clients. An AmericanEagle.com website is a 24/7 branding exercise, building rapport and thus brand equity while you sleep. Companies like WeatherTech have relied on AmericanEagle.com's website design and development and hosting capabilities for years. When some of the world's top brands need a reliable company to prepare their sites for high-traffic events, who do they call? AmericanEagle.com. Their clients have come to rely on them for a full line of website services, from consulting and strategy to digital marketing, hosting, and maintenance. Give the team at AmericanEagle.com a call today. 1-877-WEB-NOW. The number 1 is the number. AmericanEagle.com is the website. 1-877-WEB-NOW. 1 is the number.
And real quickly, those 4 ABC employees are waiting. They're going to come back to work after the COVID-19 test on that food service worker is final. I don't.
We'll wait with bated breath to find out what happens to your friends in the Chicago Press Corps.
So we're just over 3 months into 2020, and it does seem like everyone's getting sick, from the common cold to the flu. And don't get me started about viruses. And you know how you can stay healthy? Boost your immune system. Do that by getting enough sleep and eating well. And that means getting enough fruits and veggies, which you aren't doing on your own, admit it. So that's where Balance of Nature comes in. Just 6 capsules of Balance of Nature. You're getting 10 servings of 31 fruits and veggies. You hear stories on the station all the time about how people's lives have changed because of Balance of Nature. And the next story could be yours, but you have to order your fruits and veggies. And do it now, because free shipping and 35% off any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. Start your journey to better health today. Call 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago, or simply go to balanceofnature.com. Discount code Chicago.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hello, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and it's time for reparations. Reparations for the black community are bigger than a single check. Reparations are an opportunity to repair the results from the African enslavement, the redlining, the war on drugs, police terror, and continued discrimination. It is time for an investment as target as the policies that create our divide. I'm asking you to support the bill I sponsor. Please call your state legislator.
Paid for by drwillywilsonfoundation.org.
Hi, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and I've dedicated my life in the service of others. As Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, life's most pressing and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? By supporting the reparation bill, I am working for the descendants of slaves to gain generation wealth, education, housing, jobs, and service for senior citizens. Call your state representative to support this bill. God bless.
Paid for by drwillywilsonfoundation.org.
Guys, I want to encourage you to take care of your health. It's easier than you think at Low T Center. They're reinventing the doctor's visit, making it quick and easy to get all of your levels checked, not just your testosterone levels. They offer a comprehensive health assessment so you know all the numbers important to your health. If you've been feeling tired, grumpy, have a lack of motivation and drive, have noticed weight gain and loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone levels, low thyroid, or even sleep apnea. Low T Center will help determine the cause of your symptoms and help you get back to feeling your best. It all starts with their quick and easy health assessment, and it's covered by most health insurance. If you think you may have sleep apnea, Low T Center offers the convenience of a take-home sleep test with results back in days. Low T Center is concierge medicine exclusively for men. Call my friends at Low T Center today to schedule your health assessment and tell them Dan Prof sent you when you do. The number, 630-451-9352. That's 630-451-9352. 9352. You can also schedule online at lowtcenter.com. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll get the Republican response to the Super Tuesday results with analysis from Indiana Senator Mike Braun at 6:36.
And what role the former Duchess of Sussex wants her agent to grab her. We'll explain. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Light rain flurries, 37 degrees, and just one day after parts of Tennessee were devastated by a tornado outbreak that left at least 24 dead. More severe weather is taking aim at the south. National Weather Service has issued tornado watches this morning for parts of Alabama, the Florida Panhandle, Louisiana, Mississippi. Majority of the devastation from yesterday's death and yesterday morning's Tennessee tornadoes is in Putnam County. Tom Jones survived the tornado outbreak.
We headed for the bathroom, and it sounded like an explosion just went off in the house, and it just blowed all the windows out and blowed half the house away.
Authorities say they don't believe all of those who have been reported missing are dead, injured, or even missing. Former Vice President Joe Biden basking in a surprising Super Tuesday. Reporter Mike Bauer has more.
I'm here to report we are very much alive.
That's what it sounds like when you mount a comeback and win Super Tuesday. In total, Joe Biden won 9 of the 15 primary contests at stake, pulling off a number of upset victories and performed well in states where he wasn't even really competing, campaigning, or spending any money. Bernie Sanders, on the other hand, did not have a great evening. He won just 3 states outright and underperformed expectations. So far, he does seem to be on track to win delegate-rich California, even though we won't know the exact margin in California for a while yet.
Former New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg is now reconsidering his presidential campaign after a poor performance on Super Tuesday. Supreme Court will hear oral arguments later today in a case with implications for the future of abortion rights. It's over a law in Louisiana that puts restrictions on abortion clinics. 4 years ago, the court struck down a similar law in Texas as an undue burden. The death toll from coronavirus now stands at 9 here in the U.S., mostly focused on Washington state. Meantime, Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar says Phase 1 clinical trials of a coronavirus vaccine will be tested on humans in 5 to 6 weeks. J.P. Morgan Chase is testing a coronavirus contingency plan by asking thousands of U.S. employees to work from home. The work-from-home test involves about 10% of Chase's more than 125,000 consumer bank employees. Here in Chicago, a baby is dead, at least 8 others hurt after a house fire on Chicago's southwest side. Authorities continue investigating a suspicious death after finding a man dead of suspected carbon monoxide poisoning on Chicago's south side. An unruly passenger is being blamed for an American Airlines flight landing early in St. Louis. Officials say the flight from Chicago to Dallas was diverted to Lambert International last night because of a disturbance. That passenger was removed without incident by security. Blackhawks 4 second-period goals as they bashed the Ducks 6-2 at the UC. Cubs fell to the Rockies in Scottsdale. White Sox lost to the A's 6-5 in Glendale. The news, a service of Robert Half. Robert Half is the better way to hire. They pre-evaluate and custom-match highly skilled professionals to your specific project and full-time hiring requirements. Robert Half. Experts in accounting, finance, IT, legal, marketing, and administrative staffing. Visit roberthalf.com. 6:34, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Why did all this come out on Bloomberg?
The Sean Hannity Show.
Because Bloomberg had spent $500 million and he was getting close. This came from Democrats. If I had to say the likely culprit, again, educated guess, 31 years on radio, 24 years at Fox, I'd be looking right at the Biden campaign because they know how to play this game better than anybody.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Steve Cortez at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Dave Nissen, Managing Partner at Mueller CPA. For over 50 years, we have been honored to offer accounting, business, and financial advisory services to our valued clients. We also provide guidance to our clients to help them manage their success and wealth they have earned. We do that by offering retirement and investment planning, estate planning, business planning, and insurance. Whether you are a business owner interested in investment strategies or business succession, or a young professional wondering what you need to do today to be financially prepared for tomorrow, it is never too late or early to start. Our team of dedicated professionals are passionate about helping you pursue your goals by educating and inspiring you to make wise financial decisions for yourself, your family, and your business. If you're interested in learning more, call me direct at 630-524-5274 or visit our website at MuellerCPA.com. That's MuellerCPA.com.
When you're diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, a million questions flood your mind.
How can this be happening?
Am I going to be able to work?
What's a subtype? What do I do now?
We know.
We went through it too. But once you start to understand your options,
You can partner with your doctor
and find ways to face MBC on your own terms. Visit findyourmbcvoice.com and learn how to speak up and have a more informed conversation with your doctor.
Some questions have answers.
Visit findyourmbcvoice.com to find some of yours.
Doesn't it seem like things are always getting more expensive? Groceries, the rent, even utilities. Cost of living is up, but Allstate can help lower your cost of driving. With new lower auto rates in Illinois, you get the same high-quality coverage and hands-on expertise from a local Allstate agent. Now with new lower rates, you're in good hands with Allstate.
If you haven't quoted Allstate lately, it's the perfect time. Get a quote today. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Savings vary.
Get the best sleep of your life. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences. Go to helixsleep.com and get up to $200 off during their holiday sale.
637 on AM 560. A check of the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Inbound Kennedy, traffic's heavy Cumberland Central, Diversey to Damon, and Division to the Burns Circle. Looking at about 27 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, quicker the express lanes. Outbound, 23 minutes to O'Hare. Inbound Eden, got about a 2 or 3 minute delay, Foster to the junction. Inbound Eisenhower, heavy Manheim to Des Plaines Avenue, and Ogden to the Burns Circle. 35 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 30. Northbound I-55, traffic's heavy starting around 126. And the Stevenson is 43 minutes, 355 to the drive. The Ryan, 22 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57, 20 minutes, 90 to the merge, Bishop 422. Northbound Tri-State is heavy from the Reagan Beltway to the Eisenhower. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Rain and snow showers crossing the area this early morning. Midday clearing, breezy by the afternoon, a high of 47. Clear to partly cloudy, a low of 32 overnight. 37 at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. Let freedom ring this afternoon at 2 with Sean Hannity on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and we've been talking a lot about Super Tuesday results, and maybe a little bit premature because we did not get the okay from Donna Brazile to discuss the Democrat primary. As non-Democrat primary
we shouldn't
voters,
have a say in anything, Dan. Watch yourself.
She got a little testy yesterday on Fox, a little jittery, I think, going into Super Tuesday. She and some of her colleagues that are not necessarily Bernie bros and gals. This Donna Brazile responding to RNC chairwoman Ronna McDaniel, just basically restating pedestrian descriptions of the Democrat primary
going into a brokered convention.
Going into last night.
It does depend on how big the lead that Sanders takes out of California is, if he picks up a huge proportion of delegates. But I don't see anybody getting out soon, and it's leading towards potentially a broker convention, which will be rigged against Bernie if those superdelegates have their way on that second vote.
To that, you say what, Donna? First of all, I want to talk to my Republicans. First of all, stay the hell out of our race. Stay the hell out of our race. I get sick and tired, Ed. and Sandra, of listening to Republicans tell me and the Democrats about our process. First of all, they don't have a process. They're canceling primaries. They have winner take all. They don't have the kind of democracy that we see on the Democratic side. And for people to use Russian talking points to sow division among Americans, that is stupid. So, Ronna, go to hell. This is not about. Go to hell. I'm tired of it, Ed. We're not.
Donna, please.
We're not
Family
trying
show.
to prevent anyone from becoming the nominee. If you have the delegates and win, you will win. This notion that somehow or another Democrats are out there trying to put hurdles or roadblocks before one candidate, that's stupid.
Well,
She didn't have to get so nasty.
she's very, very upset. When I debated her in Chicago a couple years
she
ago,
wasn't like that.
she's very
We're
nice.
talking about her dog.
Oh, sure. Or Louisiana roots and all that. I don't know. I don't want to be told to go to hell by Donna Brazile, so maybe we shouldn't talk about the results. We should outsource it, I think. Somebody with the standing to talk about them. He is Indiana Senator Mike Braun, and he joins us now. Senator Braun, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning.
And I appreciate your courage and willing to talk about the Super Tuesday results, knowing that you may face the ire of Donna Brazile. So what are we to
Wow.
Yeah, it was something, wasn't it? What are we to make of last night's results? Obviously, a good night for Biden with Bernie underperforming expectations, and that's part of the game in politics, as you know. But do you have any preference? Does the Republican caucus have any preference in who they'd like to see on the top of the ticket for the other side?
You know, I really think that it's becoming increasingly obvious that you either got socialism or socialism light. And when you look at how this has all transpired, let's go back several months ago, this probably, for the people that were prognosticating then, Biden swooned and then came back and is probably in not quite as good a spot as what the prognosticators would have figured 4 to 6 months ago. But he showed that he's going to be continually kind of slipping up on the campaign trail. I think the brass of their party got together, and through what you saw with Pete and Klobuchar, other endorsements that came around on the heels of the South Carolina primary, you talk about machinery kicking into place. I think that's what we've seen, and I believe in terms of how that's going to work vis-a-vis Trump, I don't think it's going to make any difference at this point, because I think their platform, their policy is so far out there that it's going to be a clear contrast either way.
Now, I got to ask you about Mayor Pete, just because he's South Bend mayor, and I don't know, so
Yeah.
I'm asking, did you ever run across him in your travels in Indiana? Do you have a relationship with him?
Well, Pete has been aspiring to the big stage, for his entire political career. You could tell that with his move to run for the Democratic chair. All I can tell you is in the only statewide race that he ran in Indiana, he got trounced, and that was by Richard Murdoch, who Joe Donnelly then beat. And then, of course, I beat Donnelly in 2018. So I think he is an outlier politically and philosophically, in the Hoosier state. There are a few places that are going to maybe espouse that point of view of more government when it's proven that it hasn't worked. That's not the solution. And you've got 2 or 3 places, enclaves in a generally conservative state like Indiana, where you can survive politically, but he is not representative of politics. In fact, the southern third of our state, where I'm from, used to all be blue dog Democrats, and through the Clinton and Obama years, that's all converted over to, it's fiscally and culturally more conservative than the rest of Indiana, and now down to the local county, city politics, it's mostly Republican. Most people don't realize that. That's what's put us into a solid conservative situation.
Do you think Mayor Pete, Amy Klobuchar, and Beto's endorsement of Biden helped him on Super Tuesday?
I think probably the pivot point was Clyburn when he made sure that it was going to be a victory with some margin in South Carolina. Had that been tepid, small, I think we'd see the results flipped with Bernie up. I think this still, if you extrapolate the math, it's going to be a situation where I don't think Bernie's going to give up. If the superdelegates and the brass of the party kind of run the show the rest of the way out, I got to imagine there are going to be a lot of disheartened, disgruntled Bernie supporters, and I think that even helps Trump more. So they're between a rock and a hard place, but you got to go back to their policies. When you've got even the mildest in their party wanting to increase the size of the federal government by 50%, we don't pay for 23% of what we spend currently. And why would you want to do more of it? Even for the party that loves government, you'd think they'd want to get it in a healthy financial situation, but they're willing to borrow from future generations, and I think the common sense across this country will say otherwise.
I wanted to get to some policy points, too. I mean, some of this has been overshadowed by the coronavirus scare as well as electoral politics. But, interesting responses from a lot of unusual quarters to the announcement that there is the outline of a peace deal with the Taliban and the removal of the remaining U.S. troops from Afghanistan. Mehdi Hassan, writing in The Intercept, on Afghanistan, 3 words I never thought I'd write. Bravo, Donald Trump. What is your reaction? What's the Republican caucus's reaction to what you understand the peace agreement to be with the America and the Taliban?
I think that's just another example. I ran, Trump ran, and there are a few others starting to stick their necks out. That is basically a reflection of business as usual. We don't want to project that into the future, whether it's in foreign affairs or domestically. And for as much guff that Trump takes on anything, I think it's starting to become apparent. When you look at the agenda domestically, the economy is doing well. That's why we're going to fight through the coronavirus. It's going to be a glitch, not a major consideration economically. And when you look at remember, North Korea, Iran, all of our dealings with the Taliban, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, it wasn't being knocked out of the park before Trump got there. And something different is the simplest deduction to make. And I think we're starting to see these occur one by one on the foreign front and the domestic front. And it's a spoil sport when you can't be for that. And sadly, that's where the Democrats are. If Trump does it, they don't like it. And I think they'll pay the price for that.
Getting back to coronavirus, the administration's response, are you satisfied with it? And how do you react to the effort to politicize it by some in Democrat ranks?
Well, on the day where we had the behind closed doors briefing, the main spinner, and I call it the Schumer shuffle, just like an impeachment. And that's why I stepped forward there. There weren't many on our side willing to articulate. You do jump into the Shark Tank with media because they're trying to always catch you in a difficult spot. But when it came to coronavirus, they were extrapolating all the worst that could occur. And we were really, and everyone knew it, the best prepared of any country, regardless of how it unfolds. China, obviously, is one that had to learn the hard way. And I'll give them credit that they did do everything to contain it. Trump was smart to cut off travel back and forth. Yeah. That's why it gave us a little bit of time to react. And we had the CDC, the NIH, the Department of Homeland Security, the FDA, everyone standing alert. And that is why you still see media trying to take, sadly, where most of our extreme instances have occurred in a nursing facility on the West Coast, and then they'll pick some point to accent, like not getting the test kits out quickly enough and broadly enough. That, again, I think people see through it. All along, I was quite confident that we were in good shape. Appointing VP Pence to be the point person was smart. And then you got Chuck Schumer out there doing what he did in impeachment, running down to the sticks, to the microphone to try to spin it otherwise.
Well, so you're 100% confidence confident in Mike Pence and that President Trump is doing all that we can to prevent the spread of this disease?
Definitely. The VP was in at our Senate luncheon yesterday. We had 4 key administration officials in on the Health, Education, Labor, and Pension Committee, which I sat in on. And yes, this is not going to be the last time. We have a microorganism that's more virulent than what preceded it, and we need to take it seriously. But this idea that for some reason Trump was flat-footed is emblematic of what they've tried to do from the day he has gotten there, because, again, like I said earlier, he reflects the fact that people are frustrated with business as usual, and all of the people that spin it otherwise have been here a long time.
He is Mike Braun. He's the Republican senator from Indiana, one of the two. Boy, it must be nice to have 2 Republican senators. Senator Braun, thanks so much for joining us. As always, appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
The Lou Dobbs Financial Report is brought to you by Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Conventions and trade shows going dark around the world. United Auto Workers selling the home of their former union boss. NBA ordering no more high fives with fans. Those stories next. In a recent survey, investors shared what they felt were the greatest threats to their retirement. It's no surprise the most common threats include stock market volatility, economic uncertainty, conflict in the Middle East, the 2020 presidential impeachment, and election. Unfortunately, there are many threats beyond your control that can affect your retirement savings. At Goldco, a leader in precious metals, the team believes one way to protect your investment portfolio is with physical gold and silver. Goldco has helped thousands of investors safeguard their retirement, especially in times of uncertainty. In fact, if you call 855-971-2006, Goldco will send you a free 1-ounce silver American Eagle coin. And all you have to do is pay for shipping and handling. No obligation. 100% free. Call 855-971-2006 to get your free silver American Eagle coin. That's 855-971-2006. The coronavirus outbreak causing marketers to cancel trade shows and conventions around the globe. The International Motor Show in Geneva, the latest to pull the plug, putting automakers' new products and press conferences online instead. Other events going virtual as well to rescue sales opportunities for the companies. The United Auto Workers Union trying to generate about $1.2 million by selling the vacation home of its former president. UAW chief Dennis Williams retired in 2018 after federal corruption investigations, abandoning the opulent home that ironically was built using non-union labor. The National Basketball Association issuing a memo to players instructing them to avoid high-fiving fans and strangers to avoid exposure to the coronavirus. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 o'clock and 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
I look forward to doing it every evening, and that's going to bed, laying my head down on a MyPillow and getting into those new Giza cotton sheets. And right now, you still can get 2 sets of Giza cotton sheets for the price of 1. Go to MyPillow.com, pick out a pair for yourself, and then a second pair, and you'll pay for only 1. Why do I love MyPillow? Well, their products have a 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. It's made in America, folks. So go to MyPillow.com, type Amy, A-M-Y, in that promo code, and you'll get deep discounts on all MyPillow products, the MyPillows, the mattress toppers, towels, beds, pet beds, anything really. So MyPillow.com, type Amy in that promo code, deep discounts and 2 sets of Giza sheets for the price of 1. MyPillow.com, promo code Amy.
Balance of nature, changing the world one life at a time.
It's like night and day, actually, really. When you take this, you hear all these wonderful parables on the radio, but until you do it, you realize that they know what they're talking about, and it's true, because everything is better, as far as I'm concerned anyway. So, in fact, a friend of mine called me today, and she said, oh, you just went to Pilates, maybe you're tired, you don't want to go to lunch. I said, I'm never tired. I take balance of nature.
Don't wait to see what getting over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can do for you. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. Start your journey to better health today by calling 1-800-2468-751 or by going to balanceofnature.com and make sure to receive this special radio offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
10, 15, 20, 30-year term, whole life, universal life, index universal life, variable universal life, long-term care. Are you confused yet? No need to be. For nearly 3 decades, Northern Resource Group has assisted families and businesses understand the maze of insurance and safe money choices. Then, after careful analysis of your needs, they shop and search every leading company to find the best products and services for your family or business. Whether it's tax advantage policies, living benefits, simple term insurance, or something else, Northern Resource Group excels in selection, underwriting, and service. Call Chicagoland-based Northern Resource Group to receive your free, valuable, all-life report. It's packed with educational and easy-to-understand information. Call toll-free 888-762-8020 or visit northernresourcegroup.com. Northern Resource Group, Chicagoland's insurance and safe money professionals. That's 888-762-8020 or online at northernresourcegroup.com. Again, that number, 888-762-8020.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Jim Oberweis is the conservative leader we know and trust, and he gets results. Jim Oberweis has raised millions of dollars to help conservatives across Illinois fight Mike Madigan and the Chicago Democrats. As a state senator, Jim Oberweis has never voted for a tax increase and never will. Jim Oberweis is the only candidate to stand up and fight against Dick Durbin and the D.C. swamp, beating Dick Durbin in each county in the 14th district. Jim Oberweis fought to stop J.B. Pritzker's liberal agenda and strongly opposes Pritzker's graduated income tax. Jim Oberweis is the conservative leader we need to beat Nancy Pelosi and Lauren Underwood. Jim Oberweis stands with President Trump and will vote to fund and build the wall. If you want to support President Trump, stop the liberals, and keep America great, you need to vote for conservative leader Jim Oberweis in the Republican primary on March 17th.
I'm Jim Oberweis, and I approve this message.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so man shall not live on bread alone. How about beer? This from Chicago Magazine. Pat Berger, who's the owner of bacon and beer destinations Patty Long's and Kaiser Tiger in Chicago.
Have you ever been to those places?
I have not.
Is one of them bacon and beer?
Well, they're bacon and beer destinations is how the author describes it.
Bacon and beer, that sounds pretty good.
He when he sat down to interview Pat Berger, the Chicago Mag reporter, he had not eaten anything for 14 days. He had, however, had 60 beers since then.
Me love beer.
Indeed. He announced last week he was undertaking a Lenten effort, 40 days of no food and only beer in the spirit of the Bavarian monks from the early 1600s. Uh-huh. He's already obviously, clearly, hadn't eaten for 14 days when he was interviewed. He got a jump start on Lent. I've come to terms with the fact that there's going to be misery involved in this.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't sound like misery.
Well, if all you had was beer for the lentil beans season?
Depends how good the beer is. I mean, I don't know. You just go through Lent in sort of a Chimay-induced haze. I could, top
Does he
shelf
have beer in
Belgian
the morning, beer in the afternoon?
If there wasn't any misery, these monks wouldn't have done it since that's what they were after. That's true. He first heard about the monks and what they did in terms of beer during Lent 25 years ago. Caught my attention. I thought it sounds like fun. That's a Lent I'd like to do, and that's what he's doing. He said, I was raised very hardcore Catholic, and you can't shake it as much as you try. It's inspired. While I gave up on the Catholic Church many years ago, I didn't give up the traditions. I celebrate Easter, celebrate Christmas. I always give up something for Lent. I just like the idea of it. Denying yourself something is hard, but every time you do it, it's worthwhile. Again, I don't know if just drinking beer. I guess it's difficult to drink beer and not have a burger or something with it for 40 days.
That'd be hard.
Yeah, so good luck to Pat Berger there with his
I can't wait to see if
Lenten beer gambit.
Yeah, loses weight. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Pick up our discussion of last night's results with Rich Lowry from National Review at 7:07.
But now here is Mike Scott.
A baby killed, 8 others hurt in a Southwest Side blaze, and new restrictions because of coronavirus. WIND, Chicago News Time, 7.
This is a Fox News alert. Joe Biden picks up more momentum. I'm Dave Anthony.
So I'm here to report we are very much alive.
Biden won 9 of the 14 states on Super Tuesday. Maine still too close to call, and he's taken over the delegate lead so far. Bernie Sanders won 4 states, including the big prize, California. He remains confident he'll win the Democratic nomination, and Sanders took a shot at Mike Bloomberg.
We're going to tell him in America you cannot buy elections.
Bloomberg did win the caucuses in American Samoa, but finished either 3rd or 4th in the primaries, and Bloomberg's reportedly reassessing his campaign. Elizabeth Warren also way back, but pressing on.
I'm in this race because I believe I will make the best president of the United States.
President Trump, who easily won all 13 Republican primaries, tweeted, "The Democratic establishment came together and crushed Bernie Sanders again." And Warren staying in the race is devastating to Sanders. Now, the biggest state Joe Biden won is Texas. Fox's Eben Brown live in Austin.
Yeah, Dave, Joe Biden's Texas victory wasn't a landslide, but it was decisive, beating Bernie Sanders by 70,000 statewide votes. Mike Bloomberg finished a distant third, but still convinced 287,000 Texans to vote for him. And at the talk at Democratic Party headquarters here in Austin last night was that if there were no Mike Bloomberg, those votes all would have gone to Joe Biden. But also the belief that late endorsements from Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, and Beto O'Rourke drove even more votes Biden's way, and they hope it translates to Democrats voting in November. Dave?
Evan, there's a lot more cleanup to do in Tennessee, where tornadoes did a lot of damage, killed at least 24 people, dozens of others unaccounted for.
In Putnam County, about 70 miles outside of Nashville, that's where the majority of deaths were reported, and search and rescue crews have been working through the night looking for signs of life among the debris.
Fox's Grady Trimble and Hart hit East Nashville. Some of the people killed died in their beds when the storms hit after midnight early yesterday. America's listening to Fox News.
Light rain and flurries across the area this morning. That was expected. 37 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A baby is dead. At least 8 others are badly hurt following a house fire on Chicago's southwest side. Police say the blaze broke out late last night in the attic of a single-family home near 60th and Kenneth. 8 were hospitalized. The 1-year-old girl pronounced dead. A 2-year-old girl and a man and a woman are in critical condition at this time. Authorities are investigating after a man died of his suspected carbon monoxide poisoning on Chicago's south side. Police say a carbon monoxide alarm went off inside that apartment building last night in the 800 block of East 53rd. Fire crews located a unit with a stove on, which led to alarms going off. The Archdiocese of Chicago issuing new guidelines over possible concerns from the spread of coronavirus. All priests, deacons, altar servers, and extraordinary ministers must wash their hands before Mass begins and use an alcohol-based antibacterial solution before and after distributing communion. The new guidelines also eliminate the use of the chalice and suspend handshaking during the sign of the peace. Meantime, Chicago State University men's basketball team will not play 2 upcoming road games due to COVID-19 concerns. The Cougars have informed the WAC conference they will not travel to Washington to play its Thursday road game against Seattle or to Utah to play Utah Valley University on Saturday. In other news this morning, 2 brothers in Illinois are accused of forcing a 17-year-old girl into prostitution and holding her against her will when she expressed a desire to return home. 29-year-old Eric Johnson was charged Tuesday with aggravated criminal sexual assault. A man is dead after he was shot while playing basketball on Chicago's south side. Police say a group of people were playing basketball yesterday along East 111th when an argument broke out. The northwest suburban Crystal Lake home, where authorities say 5-year-old A.J. Friend was killed by his parents last year, scheduled to be demolished beginning this morning. Green demolition contractors will tear down that 2-story home. Home was previously owned by Andrew Friend and Joanne Cunningham. They were charged in their son's murder. The news service of Robert Half, the better way to hire. They pre-evaluate and custom match highly skilled professionals to your specific project and full-time hiring requirements. Robert Half, experts in accounting, finance, IT, legal, marketing, and administrative staffing. Visit roberthalf.com. 7:04, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
With all the noise and political spin of the news cycle, it's easy for the things that really matter to get lost. Sources with knowledge cuts through all the clutter to bring you biting commentary on the week's events. This Sunday at 3 p.m., your hosts Eric Cohn and Joe Kaiser bring you insight on politics and policy, as well as culture, sports, food, and everything else you need, so you can understand what's happened this week. It's Sources with Knowledge this Sunday at 3 p.m. right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hello, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and it's time for reparations. Reparations for the black community are bigger than a single check. Reparations are an opportunity to repair the results from the African enslavement, the redlining, the war on drugs, police terrorists, and continued discrimination. It is time for an investment as targeted as the policies that create our divide. I'm asking you to support the bill I sponsor. Please call your state legislator.
Paid for by drwilliewilsonfoundation.org.
Hi, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and I've dedicated my life in the service of others. As Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, life's most pressing and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? By supporting the reparation bill, I am working for the descendants of slaves to gain generational wealth, education, housing, jobs, and service for senior citizens. Call your state representative to support this bill. God bless.
Paid for by drwilliewilsonfoundation.org.
Do it right to save 5% every day by shopping at Lowe's in-store or online. Save 5% on eligible purchases just by using your Lowe's Advantage card. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Subject to credit approval, cannot be combined with other credit offers. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.
7:07. Let's get a check of the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center with Jim Telemonte.
On Chicago's southwest side, Central Avenue is closed north of Midway between 54th and Archer due to a collision involving a car and a freight train. Crest Hill, Weber Road is blocked in Caton Farm and Division due to a crash. Inbound Eden's delay started Peterson, 20 minutes like Hook to Montrose. Kennedy, 46 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 24 from Montrose, 21 on the Express. Eisenhower, 43 minutes, 390 to downtown. Stevenson is 47 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 24 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57, 22 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop 425. Northbound Tri-State, scatter delays, start at 115th and Ridgeland. It's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
A rain or snow shower for early this morning. Otherwise, clouds give way to some sun. Breezy today, high 47. Clear to partly cloudy tonight and a low 32. Partly sunny, breezy, and mild tomorrow, the high at 52. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
37 at O'Hare, 39 Lakefront. Again, rain and some snow flurries have been seen across the area this morning. Your next news update, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So the big news from yesterday is that Jimmy Kimmel ripped me off.
Wait, what do you mean?
That's a big story yesterday.
What about Biden's big win?
Jimmy Kimmel stole my moniker and sort of paraphrased my riff, but that is, he Bidened me. Jimmy Kimmel Bidened me. I feel like Neil Kinnock. So as you know, and anybody listening to the show, for, 8-9 months, my moniker for the dearly departed Pete Buttigieg was Mannequin Pete.
Right.
And I said that
you own that. That is all yours.
Mannequin Pete. Right. A grand insight on my part, if I do say so myself, and I just did. And I said upon his departure, this was just in time for him to get back to the Macy's men's department in Mishawaka and model the line of spring line of Kenneth Cole suits.
That's right.
Yeah. And I this men's department at the Macy's Mishawaka, I've been using that for 9 months too.
Forever.
Listen to Jimmy Kimmel talk about Mannequin Pete's departure.
Pete Buttigieg was an important candidate. He was the first openly gay frontrunner for a major party. He was also the first candidate to dress like he worked at Office Max every single day. Mayor Pete is expected to go back to his job working as a mannequin at Gap Kids.
Mannequin at Gap Kids. I mean, that has a little bit of an unseemly overtone where I was purely comedic and fun-loving in my characterization. So, I mean, if I could borrow from Donna Brazil, hey, Jimmy Kimmel, go to hell. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of you stealing my stuff. I want a check. Oh, yeah, and then Joe Biden had a good night and Bernie didn't. For more on that, we're pleased to be joined by Rich Lowry, editor of National Review and Fox News contributor, as well as author of The Case for Nationalism, How It Made Us Powerful, United, and Free. Rich, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So the handle last night into this morning is that let's all get ready for Joe Biden as the nominee to face Donald Trump. He's all of 70 delegates ahead with a lot of states to go and a lot of vulnerabilities. I understand the momentum is with him, South Carolina, to overperforming last night relative to expectations. But do you think this is over?
I think he has a significant advantage and is the front runner again, astonishingly enough. I mean, there have been comebacks before, John Kerry in 2004, McCain in 2008, but those guys were left for dead and came back before the voting started. Joe Biden finished 4th and 5th in Iowa and New Hampshire. His best showing was a distant second in Nevada. Then he wins South Carolina by 30 points, and within 3 days transforms the race utterly and has a 30 and 40-point surge places. I mean, this is the most astonishing political comeback we have seen. Now, one of the ironies, and what I'm about to say is really paradoxical and counterintuitive, you don't need to be a good candidate when you're winning by 30 points. And that's the thing. Kind of the black vote just lifted Biden up in South Carolina, made him viable, made him the quote-unquote electable candidate again, and then everyone flocked to him. But we haven't seen him, perform under a microscope like a front runner has to in a while now. So he's going to get that scrutiny again. There's obviously major performance problems with Biden. Bernie's going to take the wood to him and not going to, go slipping out into that great good night quietly. But there's a geographic advantage now for Biden, and the dynamic that seemed like it was going to apply to Bernie, which is once you get ahead in a proportional representation race, it's hard to track you down, now applies to Biden. And, Bernie's going to win places. Bernie could win in Michigan very easily next week, but the problem he's going to have is the problem he had last night, which he'll win places somewhat narrowly. Michigan will probably be close, so he won't get many delegates out of it, whereas Biden is going to smash him in places like Mississippi, Georgia, Florida. You put Florida and Georgia together, that's a Texas or almost a California. I think they're 300-something delegates. So I think what Bernie's looking at now is just all of a sudden, within the course of 3 days, after running for president for 4 years after 2016, he's back to 2016. He's a step behind, close, and competitive, but a step behind an establishment front runner that he probably can't run down.
Well, and here's the thing, too, right? He knew this going in. The problem he has is he just has very limited appeal to black voters. And Joe Biden, I think I saw the exit polling, Joe Biden winning black voters 57-17, which is why he rolled through the South. And that momentum also with the establishment rallying around him, and then that being amplified by their friends in the media, helped him surprise in Massachusetts and Minnesota, perhaps Maine as well. But he can't. He has almost zero appeal to a quarter of the Democrat primary electorate, and you just can't win a national election that way.
Yeah, so I mean that's true. He widened out a little bit among blacks, young blacks. He widened out a little bit racially from 2016 because Sanders really worked the Hispanic vote.
Yeah, he is the Latino
made
vote.
inroads there. But the where he didn't widen out is ideologically, and then this is sort of the key demographic that doesn't get as much focus in terms of age. There's no old people who are going to vote for Bernie Sanders, just none. And I think it's because they have memories of what socialism really is, and they're old enough not to get caught up in delusions of a coming revolution. So that really crimps Bernie. But look, the worm has turned a couple times in this race. So any great certain statements made with great certainty have proven false largely. So we should have a little modesty about what happened, what's going to happen here. But it's clear Bernie is a step behind.
And what's the play for Elizabeth Warren? She didn't win any states, and she came in third in her own state of Massachusetts.
It's ridiculous. She shouldn't have been in the race anyway. I don't know how possibly she justifies staying in now, unless she says that the rule that you should win your own state was written by transphobic males or whatever she'll come up with.
Yeah,
but this is a huge embarrassment. And in terms of being siloed as a candidate, she just gets siloed into college-educated women, and she overperformed her vote relative to the rest of her vote among those voters. But that's just not enough. That's just not enough to win. And another point on the coalition, Biden's going to have his vulnerabilities in the general election, obviously. But what he's showed, the last 10 days, where you have some appeal to working-class whites, you have a lot of appeal to African Americans, and as we saw last night, you can win suburban college-educated women too. Those are the three constituency Democrats really need in November.
Well, first on Elizabeth Warren and that glass ceiling you're imposing on her, which is just despicable to me. She persists, Rich. That's what she does. She persists, and just get used to it. So she's gone or effectively gone. And what about? Well, actually, I want to go back to what you just said. Joe Biden's coalition. That's a coalition after the other candidates were measured and found wanting, much like the candidates against Romney in 2012 on the Republican side. And that coalition is among Democrats in a Democrat primary. Joe Biden was left and has been pushed exceedingly further left in the primary on guns, with announcing Beto as his gun czar, on imprisoning fossil fuel company executives because they're fossil fuel company executives. I mean, his appeal in a general election with actual swing voters or blue dog Democrats who voted for Trump, that's a whole different kettle of fish.
True. Absolutely true. It's a very good point, and he's gotten pushed and will be, effectively owned by the left. There's no way Biden, if he's president, is not going to push for the left most plausible health care plan. It's just that he's more realistic about what you can get than Bernie is. But I think that the problem for Biden, the problem for Republicans or the threat to Trump is obviously they're going to make a huge amount of Biden's gaffes. Obviously there's a performance issue there where you kind of even wonder whether he can make it through a general election without imploding in some high-pressure moment. Plus, they'll make a lot of, this is the ultimate Washington insider, and his family's gotten really rich.
Right.
So those are things they can really hit him on. The problem is with Hillary had been around for decades, and everyone was used to hating her. Like, she was radioactive. And Biden, a lot of people, we have sort of a casual contempt for him, but it's sort of tinged with a certain amount of amusement, and I don't think he's not hated the same way. Now maybe he will be by November. That's where politics works. But he's not, in that respect, he's not a Hillary-like figure.
Well, right, and so the Trump play, if you're advising the Trump campaign, and you have sort of this combination of vulnerabilities that to some extent you could argue you have to pick one. He's incompetent, he doesn't clear the competency threshold, or he's corrupt and he leveraged his public office to enrich himself and his family, a la Hillary Clinton. Well, if he's this sort of corrupt mastermind, then it's hard to also argue he's a buffoon too. So which is it?
Yeah, that's a good point. I'd tend to go. The performance stuff. Trump will nail him on it. And he'll nail him on it in the way he always does, which is like makes it really hard for you to respond without playing on his territory. And then he hits really painfully on something that's true, right? And there might be something. I hope there isn't. There might be something going on with Biden. It might just be, age 50, you begin to have trouble remembering names. So when you're 77 and you're out on the campaign trail and you're tired, it all kind of adds up. But that's going to be, how's Biden's going to handle that? It's going to be tricky. But I think the Washington insider thing. And corrupt, and he pretends to be middle-class Joe and different, but his brothers, his sons, they all enriched himself. I think that could be a powerful theme that's been relatively unexplored. Like no Democrats have made that case against him. Bernie's going to hit him on some ideological issues here, and is already up with Social Security ads in Florida, but no one's made that attack on Biden.
Now, this morning, Mike Bloomberg is reassessing his campaign with his cohorts there in New York City. What do you think is going to, how is this going to end?
I assume it's going to end soon. It was almost worse winning America Samoa than winning nothing, because it's just sort of hilarious that he won there. And
Did
I
he
guess
even
it was a caucus.
there? I mean,
I'm sure he bought off
bought the island.
Someone said he had a campaign team of 7 people in American Samoa.
Really? Well, he did a good job.
But I'm not a scourge of money in politics. It's a free country. You can spend as much as you want. But there was something just really unseemly about how Bloomberg was going about this. Obviously, a key moment was that first debate when it exposed him as a Wizard of Oz type figure, where you look at his ads and you're like, whoa, what a champion, a total leader of incredible muscularity and vision. And then you see him on the stage, like, who is this guy? He was getting destroyed by Elizabeth Warren. So I think it made the ads less credible. And then, as I kind of suspected, this is at least one thing I was right about, he was kind of borrowing public polling. He was buying public polling, but he wasn't buying support. So once it came around to a real race and people had to decide, and other candidates were playing in these states, he didn't totally collapse. He held up a little bit, but it mostly eroded away. And it was the same thing was true of Steyer in South Carolina. So, and this is the most astonishing metric of how much money an organization really matters. Biden had no money and no organization in most of these places, and hadn't showed up in most of these places. And just the momentum and the free media created this enormous surge.
And the known quantity, obviously much more of a known quantity than Bloomberg. Now, I hope Bloomberg stays in to give Guam a shot. I just like to see
the island candidate.
Yeah,
remember when Obama said 57 states, whatever those. I think he was thinking of places like American Samoa. So Bloomberg will wipe up the other 7 of our 57 states.
The other thing about Bloomberg, though, just as like a cautionary tale, I think you're exactly right about him buying audience but not support, and those are two different things. But the other thing is, he had this record that was sort of begrudgingly respected as mayor of New York City by technocrats sort of across the spectrum. But he spent his entire candidacy apologizing for it. So wait a second, you're this uber competent guy who's a problem fixer, but you're apologizing for everything you did in New York. How do you square those two for me?
Yeah, and then it just got to. I mean, this was another big factor. End of the day, as Warren said, and I guess in the second debate that Bloomberg was part of, he wasn't acceptable to the party. He was not acceptable to its base. So the whole theory, it seemed as though the theory was working when Biden was collapsing, because that was a big part of his case. But the idea that the party would swing to him just always seemed crazy. And if it had gotten to a Bernie Bloomberg race, Bernie would have won that pretty easily, because Bernie, whatever his deficits and how narrow his coalition is relative to Biden, perhaps, Democrats have a fairly fond view of him. 70% approval rating, something in the party, and they weren't shocked and outraged at the idea that Bernie might win the nomination, whereas Bloomberg's numbers were all much worse than that. So that's a key thing that happened, is that Bernie needed a Bernie Bloomberg race, and Bloomberg wasn't capable of it, and Biden revived.
And I want to emphasize your point too about money in politics, which is such the cheap theatrics you get from politicians decrying it. $750 million between Bloomberg and Steyer, and they have American Samoa collectively to show for it. So it does say something about the quality of the candidate. Last question: what about the Jim Comey Judas kiss for Joe Biden? Is John Brennan going to be next?
That was didn't at least for a moment make you want to have a little second thoughts about whether you should support Biden or not?
I love it. I just love the fact that Jim Comey, Mr. Smith, going to Washington, there is a man without a country other than CNN and the Washington Post.
It's so pathetic. It's like, all right, so this is what all the elites doing, all the smart people are doing, the cool people. So I got to do it too. It was typical Comey.
He is Rich Lowry, editor of National Review, Fox News contributor. The book, The Case for Nationalism, How It Made Us Powerful, United, and Free. Rich, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks so much.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/search. That's ZipRecruiter.com/search.
Hey, have you seen the new cyber threat warning about the Conversation Hub?
Hijacking? Totally. Cyber criminals are using email account takeover and brand impersonation to insert themselves into email conversations and steal money from businesses.
Right. That's why I tell my clients about
Barracuda. Same here. They use artificial intelligence to detect and block sophisticated attacks, including account takeover and brand impersonation.
Man, I guess you did see it.
Don't become a victim. Protect your business at Barracuda.com. Barracuda, your journey secured.
Let's do it. Let's get healthy and stay healthy and boost our immune system during this cold and flu season. And the best way to do that is to take Balance of Nature. Because admit it, you're not eating a healthy diet on your own, not getting enough fruits and veggies in your daily diet. And that's where Balance of Nature comes in. 6 capsules a day, that's it, is giving you 10 servings of 31 fruits and veggies. Let's bring back the healthy you and take Balance of Nature. And right now, if you order your first supply of Balance of Nature, free shipping and 35% off. That's a great deal. So call this number, 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or simply go to balanceofnature.com, discount code Chicago.
Hi, this is Dan Frio with the Mortgage Update. Is the lack of having enough money in the bank holding you back from buying a home? The state of Illinois is helping first-time home buyers with this issue with a program you can only get through a limited number of lenders that's hand-picked by the state, and I'm one of those preferred lenders. This program is a grant up to $10,000 to help you with your down payment and also cover closing costs. Stop paying your landlord's mortgage and get on the path to buying your own home. Since this is a grant program, funding can run out at any time, so call now and reach out to me personally. Just pick up the phone and call 844-775-LOAN. That's 844-775-LOAN to reach me personally, or visit me on the web at windmortgage.com. That's windmortgage.com.
Parkside Lending, LLC is an Illinois residential mortgage licensee and an equal housing lender. NMLS 176162.
Spring is right around the corner. In fact, we spring ahead this weekend, daylight savings time. And did you know that right now is the best time to waterproof your basement or crawl space? It's true. The folks over at Permaseal can guarantee that the problems you had before, they haven't gone away. In fact, it can only get worse. So give Permaseal a call, 800-421-7325 to schedule a free inspection. That's 800-421-SEAL, or go to permaseal.net.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, and Rich Lowry is right about having humility, predicting these things. Especially, I clearly underestimated the groupthink that exists in the Democrat Socialist Party and their willingness to be led by their betters, those people in office. Because I thought that South Carolina was a dead cat bounce for Biden, but it clearly was not. So.
No.
That's why you live and learn.
I know, and I have friends in Minnesota that voted for Biden because Amy Klobuchar told them to. Honestly, they're not a big fan, but they're like, you know what? If she believes in him, I trust her, and I'm going to do that. And that's what they did.
If Amy Klobuchar tells them to run off a cliff, they say, how fast?
Yeah.
How fast
and she
would you
said
like
to jump, they say, how high?
That's exactly
You always
right.
got to listen to Amy's, okay? That's the point.
She's so charismatic. You could understand why people would be entranced by her edicts.
People in Minnesota like her. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We're going to talk monetary policy and coronavirus economic impact with Steve Moore at 7:37.
And later, Meghan Markle wants a new role. She wants to not be a star in a movie, but we'll explain. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Well, we swept the clouds and the light rain showers out, leaving behind mostly sunny skies, 37 degrees. Here in Chicago, a baby is dead. 8 others critically hurt following a house fire on Chicago's southwest side. It happened overnight at a single-family home near 60th and Kenneth. Nationally, former Vice President Joe Biden celebrating after a strong showing on Super Tuesday.
People are talking about a revolution. We started a movement. We've increased turnout. And the turnout's turned out for us.
He claimed victory in 9 states, including Texas. Senator Bernie Sanders appears to have won California.
We are going to defeat Trump because we are putting together an unprecedented grassroots, multi-generational, multiracial movement.
Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg will reportedly meet with his campaign advisors later this morning to find out whether they want to stay in the race. Parts of the South bracing for another round of severe storms today. Day after tornadoes killed at least 24 in Tennessee. Governor Bill Lee.
Our prayers are greatly needed for families out there who are dealing with a sudden tragic event.
As of last night, at least 24 reported dead in and around Nashville, down from 25. Coronavirus deaths are on the rise in the U.S., mostly linked to Washington State. 3 more deaths were connected to the outbreak on Tuesday, bringing the death toll in the U.S. to 9. Officials at the University of Chicago Medical Center confirming a patient suspected there of having the coronavirus who was being treated has tested negative. Separate federal juries here in Chicago have found Chicago police officers wrongly indulged in conduct that resulted in the fatal shooting of a suspect and the false confession and imprisonment of a rape suspect. One federal jury found a police sergeant was unjustified in the shooting of 19-year-old Kawan Ray. Another jury awarded $5 million to Stanley Rice, who claims 2 now retired Chicago officers beat him into a confession in September of 1982. The pair worked under disgraced police commander John Burge. State police continue investigating after 3 died when a small plane crashed and burst into flames along I-55 in central Illinois yesterday. Blackhawks beat the Ducks 6-2. Cubs fell to the Rockies in Scottsdale, while the White Sox lost to the A's 6-5. College hoops last night, DePaul held off Marquette 69-68, while in the Horizon Tournament, UIC was a winner over IUPUI. The news service of Lowe's. Do it right to save 5% every day by shopping at Lowe's, in-store or online. Save 5% on eligible purchases just by using your Lowe's Advantage card. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Subject to credit approval. Cannot be combined with other credit offers. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only. 7:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher has a theory about the Democrats.
I didn't think Pete Buttigieg finishing 3rd in South Carolina was bad for him. I'm going to throw out a theory. Somebody made him a really good offer. You'll be my vice presidential running mate if you'll drop out now to give me some votes in Super Tuesday. The only person I can think of that would make that kind of offer is Joe Biden.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
When it's cold outside, you can dress for it. But when your furnace gives out, hey, a blanket fort can only do so much. So call your local 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning. We'll replace your old furnace with a new high-efficiency one. And that beats a bunch of blankets any day. Right now, cozy up to big savings on a complete heating system. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
If you're age 59 and a half or older with a 401k plan and still working, stop what you're doing and call Wealth Management Group today at 833-WMG-PLAN. At 59 and a half, you're entitled to new opportunities in the investment world that can help save you thousands in 401k fees and potentially reduce your risk of a market correction. You've worked and saved, and now is the time to manage your retirement savings. Call Craig Bolanos of Wealth Management Group today at 833-WMG-PLAN. Securities and financial planning offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
Balance of nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
My fingernails grow, I think, faster. My hair grows a little quicker. I feel pretty good overall health. The biggest thing I tell people is I don't get sick anymore. Not that I was sick or anything before, but if I could stay with a boosted immune system, which is what I think I'm doing with this, I like that position because I don't get sick. I don't get sore throats. I don't get colds. My wife got the flu over Christmas. My daughter got real sick over Christmas. I didn't worry. I just stayed a reasonable distance from them, and I didn't get sick. So that's what I like.
Don't wait to see what getting over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can do for you. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. Start your journey to better health today by calling 1-800-2468-751 or by going to balanceofnature.com and make sure to receive this special radio offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com.
7:36. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time and Jim Telemonte.
Southwest side Central Avenue remains closed north of Midway between 54th and Archer due to a collision involving a car and a freight train. On northbound I-55, the sporting traffic is heavy from 126 most of the way to Lamont Road, and delays continue then in pockets all the way to Lakeshore Drive. It's 50 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. Edens runs 21 minutes like Cook to Malt Road. Kennedy, 48 minutes O'Hare to downtown, a little quicker than the express. Eisenhower, 46 minutes, 3:90 to downtown. The ride looking at 33 minutes from 95th to the Burns Circle. Northbound Tri-State delays are from 115th to 75th, from the Stevenson to 47th, and from the Reagan to Irving Park. That's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. From our 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center, clearing, breezy today, a high of 47. Clear to partly cloudy overnight, low 32. It's 37 right now at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Secure Retirement Radio with host Raj Shah. Sunday mornings at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Joe Biden on his, remarking to his supporters in L.A. last night upon the occasion of his big Super Tuesday performance.
Let's get something straight. Wall Street didn't build this country. You built this country. The middle class built this country. And unions built the middle class.
Middle class versus working class, Bernie and Biden for the next couple of months?
What makes this movement unique is we are taking on the corporate establishment.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to defeat Trump because we are putting together an unprecedented grassroots, multi-generational, multiracial movement. It is a movement which speaks to the working families of this country who are sick and tired of working longer hours for low wages and seeing all new income and wealth going to the top 1%.
For more on last night's results and yesterday morning's decision by the Fed to cut the interest rate by 50 basis points, we're pleased to be joined by Steve Moore, economist, Wall Street Journal columnist, author of the book Trumponomics. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Dan.
So Bernie's got the working class and Joe's got the middle class. They got those classes covered. What's a Trump to do?
So, first of all, I think the big story about last night, and that was a shocking comeback by Joe Biden. I mean, remember 2 weeks ago, he was left for dead after getting crushed in Nevada.
And now he's unstoppable.
And now, it was a big night for him. I mean, he picked up, in many states, 10 or 15 points, in some cases 20 percentage points in the vote. And by the way, the reason I think there was a turning point, Dan, I'd like your thoughts on this too. I think the big turning point was the crazy thing that Bernie said on that 60 Minutes, and he started praising Fidel Castro and the communist regime there.
Steve, we're losing you there. I think Castro's cutting the remnants of the Castro regime are cutting your phone.
A wake-up call to people that Bernie Sanders is a little bit insane and his ideas are crazy, and anybody who would ever praise a tyrant like Fidel Castro does not deserve to be president of the United States.
Yeah, I think that's actually an interesting point. Was that a watershed moment? It probably was for particularly a lot of older voters who know something about Castro's Cuba, and it's also something that was amplified through parody on Saturday Night Live, and so the cultural the cultural impression of that, I think, really hurt Bernie. I agree with that. I think it did sort of crystallize against him.
Can I say one more thing about that, Dan? Because everybody was saying, even liberals were saying, how can you say that about Fidel Castro? Wait a minute. I remember when the liberals were saying, oh, what a great country Cuba is, and they've got universal health care, and they've got a better literacy rate than we have in the United States. So it wasn't just Bernie; it was the whole left-wing establishment that, for years, if not decades, has been apologizing for a communist who killed thousands and thousands of his own people. And so, I think Bernie was just spouting out the same nonsense that the left has been saying about Cuba for years. But look,
that's true. But it wasn't. But it wasn't one.
I was very disappointed about what happened last night because as a Trump guy, I want to run against Bernie Sanders. But as an American, I'm actually very proud of Americans for turning away from a guy who wants to raise tax rates to 60% and wants to have the government take over our healthcare system and other kind of nonsense like that.
Sure, well, they're turning to somebody who wants to do the same thing just slower, and so that's exciting.
Exactly. Well, that's a good point, Dan. I mean, everybody says, Biden's the moderate here. He's the middle guy. He's guy in the middle. He wants everything, as you said very correctly, he just wants to do it.
Hey, Steve, we're losing you.
Worker paradise.
Steve,
are you moving around while you're talking to us?
Have you upgraded from your flip phone yet, or Steve?
Hello?
Steve? Oh, we're going to have to try to effort to get Steve back. Okay. All right. Well, that's what happens. Technology. Real time. There's
I don't even think he knew I was here. I had so many questions to ask him. We've got to call him back.
Well, yeah. We'll hey, look, we work without a safety net here. So we'll try to get Steve back.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Jim Oberweis is the conservative leader we know and trust, and he gets results. Jim Oberweis has raised millions of dollars to help conservatives across Illinois fight Mike Madigan and the Chicago Democrats. As a state senator, Jim Oberweis has never voted for a tax increase and never will. Jim Oberweis is the only candidate to stand up and fight against Dick Durbin and the D.C. swamp, beating Dick Durbin in each county in the 14th district. Jim Oberweis fought to stop J.B. Pritzker's liberal agenda and strongly opposes Pritzker's graduated income tax. Jim Oberweis is the conservative leader we need to beat Nancy Pelosi and Lauren Underwood. Jim Oberweis stands with President Trump and will vote to fund and build the wall. If you want to support President Trump, stop the liberals, and keep America great, you need to vote for conservative leader Jim Oberweis in the Republican primary on March 17th.
I'm Jim Oberweis, and I approve this message.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, we've fixed the satellite dish that Al Franken used to wear on his head to Steve Moore's head, and he joins us again. Steve, are you with us? Steve.
I am back.
Oh, hey, there he is.
There you go.
Sorry about that. You know, I'm on the train. I was up in New York last night for the big Super Tuesday, and just coming back. But anyway, I could not hear what Amy was saying. So.
Well, I was
ahead,
wondering, do you think Michael Bloomberg's looking to see where he can get his money back after last night's epic fail? Are these things
so
refundable?
You know, he spent, what is it, $500 million? I don't think any candidate has ever spent as much money. And, you know, what did he get? 9% of the vote. It's very embarrassing to him. And by the way, you know, the contrast between these two billionaires, Bloomberg and Trump, is so interesting because, you know, I worked on the Trump campaign, as you guys know. And the one thing that was most remarkable about that is this billionaire named Donald Trump did not spend any money. He didn't spend $500 million. He barely spent $5 million. And the reason was that Donald Trump didn't have to pay advertising. He was on the front page of every newspaper and on every news show, you know, from the day he walked down that escalator until the day he was elected president. There's a big difference between what's called paid media and earned media, which is
Steve is in the hinterlands in New York somewhere on a choo-choo train. We've lost him again. All right.
Darn choo-choo.
All right, we'll have to come back and reset. And by the way, just on the Bloomberg number, because I was just doing a little back-of-the-envelope calculations, 500 million, round numbers, what he spent. 45 delegates is what he has right now, buoyed
So how much
by
per
American
delegate?
Samoa. So that's about $11,111,000 per delegate.
And he was so cocky. Even yesterday, you know, he was trying to make a funny while, you know, during Super Tuesday.
Would a third place finish be good?
You know, if there's only 3 candidates, you can't do worse than that.
Well, there is Elizabeth Warren also.
I didn't realize she's still in. Is she?
Oh, so fun.
This is why he kills in the Catskills.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Are your windows needy?
Call Crumweedy.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. If you need windows, call the exterior experts, Crumweedy. Mark Olson and Greg Olson of Crumweedy run a third-generation family business that's been doing Chicagoland exteriors since 1953. For them, it's all about trust. They truly share your values. Why windows from Crumweedy? Crumweedy windows are not offered anywhere else in Chicagoland. They're exclusive. That's why they can offer a lifetime material and labor installation guarantee. Lifetime! That's a great investment for your home. Also, the vinyl windows are 100% virgin vinyl. You're getting quality. If your windows are needy,
call Crumweedy.
Right now, for a limited time, get 50%, half off installation on windows, and get financing with no money down and no payments for a year. The best deal on windows is right now. Go to homeisneedy.com. Homeisneedy.com.
Call Crumweedy.
Crumweedy Home Pros.
I'm doing it right now. See, Dan, I'm taking my balance of nature. What I do is take warm water and break open the capsules, 3 of each, 3 fruits, 3 vegetables. And with that, start my day off right. And I'm getting 10 servings of 31 different fruits and veggies. There's no dyes, preservatives, GMO-free, gluten-free. It really is the best, and it'll help boost your immune system. Since I started taking it about 8 weeks ago, I have not gotten a cold. I have not gotten the flu, and I'm sleeping better at night, and I have more energy and no leg cramps because there's potassium in there, so that helps with that. And guess what? You've heard about these stories all the time here on the station, how people's lives have changed by taking Balance of Nature, and the next story could be yours, but you've got to order your Balance of Nature today. Right now, free shipping and 35% off any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. So start your journey to better health. Call 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or simply go to balanceofnature.com. Discount code Chicago.
If you have pain, listen up. Dennis Prager here. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You don't have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. So, Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all of its side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you can be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com.
After 25 years of building websites for all kinds of companies in many different industries, AmericanEagle.com realized a well-designed website is also your best employee, bringing efficiency, revenue, production, showing up every day, giving above and beyond to increase your bottom line. That's what a website designed, developed, and hosted by AmericanEagle.com has brought to so many clients. An AmericanEagle.com website is a 24/7 branding exercise, building rapport and thus brand equity while you sleep. Companies like WeatherTech have relied on AmericanEagle.com's website design and development and hosting capabilities for years. When some of the world's top brands need a reliable company to prepare their sites for high-traffic events, who do they call? AmericanEagle.com. Their clients have come to rely on them for a full line of website services, from consulting and strategy to digital marketing, hosting, and maintenance. Give the team at AmericanEagle.com a call today. 1-877-WEB-NOW. The number 1 is the number. AmericanEagle.com is the website. 1-877-WEB-NOW1 is the number.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hello, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and it's time for reparations. Reparations for the black community are bigger than a single check. Reparations are an opportunity to repair the results from the African enslavement, the redlining, the war on drugs, police terrorists, and continued discrimination. It is time for an investment as target, as the policies that create our divide. I'm asking you to support the bill I sponsor. Please call your state legislator.
Paid for by drwilliewilsonfoundation.org.
Hi, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and I've dedicated my life in the service of others. As Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, life's most pressing and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? By supporting the reparation bill, I am working for the descendants of slaves to gain generation wealth, education, housing, job, and service for senior citizens. Call your state representative to support this bill. God bless.
Paid for by drwilliewilsonfoundation.org.
AM 560, The Answer.
Cause they got the beat, the campus beat, the campus beat. Yeah, the campus beat.
Yeah, Mark Bauerlein, who's an English professor at Emory University, friend of the show. He brings this to us via mindingthecampus.org. The power of liberal peer condemnation on conservatives. And since we're all on a college campus now, you should hear this, if you're on a college campus, of course. But if you're not, in adult and professional life, the same dynamic is at play. How many times do you hear, people talk about being secretly a Trump supporter, but they won't tell anybody because they don't want to get castigated?
All the time.
So Bauerlein brings us a study by two professors at North Carolina Chapel Hill. The researchers there began by issuing a questionnaire to undergrads, a questionnaire that was distributed to 20,000 Tar Heels in total. They got back a little over 1,000 completed responses. The survey asked students how many times, a number of questions, including how many times in one selected class had they kept their opinions to themselves out of fear of reprisal.
Ooh.
Liberal students, self-identified liberals, 3/4 of them said they never kept their opinions quiet out of fear of retribution of any kind. Only a third of conservatives said they never did. 45-point spread. 3/4 of liberals never felt the need to keep their opinions quiet, and 2/3 of conservatives did, effectively. Bauerlein makes this important point. Think, oh, yeah, the professors there. What are the professors like at ABC University? The administrators. We talk a lot about that. What about the other students? That's what this survey gets to. The peer pressure, the peer-to-peer censorship, if you will, or the peer-to-peer culture that's created, a censorious culture that's created. Researchers asked respondents how their peers would react to them in terms of if they expressed their opinions, how their peers would react to them if they expressed their opinions. 75% of conservative kids stated their peers would have a lower opinion of them if they expressed their sincere political views in class. Liberal students, only 26% said the same. Again, 50-point spread. 3/4 of conservative kids said their peers at college would have a lower opinion of them, and that's really what's driving them from withholding their views in class, whereas only 1/4 of liberal students thought the same. Another question asks students how frequently they hear disrespectful, inappropriate, or offensive comments about certain groups on campus. One of the 12 groups was political conservatives. How often do you hear disrespectful, inappropriate, or offensive comments about certain groups? Political conservatives, and then other women, men, the different races. Political conservatives, number one. 57% of liberal respondents stated that they heard disrespectful, inappropriate, or offensive comments about conservatives several times per semester or more. The next highest group chosen by liberals, women at 32%, men at 25%, whites 22%, blacks 20%, and on down the line. Wide margin. And Bauerlein makes the point, when we talk about repression, the repression from peers, that the rebel angle is unavailable. Students get hammered by some leftist professor, and they can band together to strike back at authority, raise the profile, so that people like us talk about a particular professor who is anti-intellectual, anti-academic freedom. And you rail against that professor, that administrator, that institution. What about when it's just other classmates? A little bit more complicated. There's no power imbalance. We have instead a college version of peer pressure and cliquishness, writes Bauerlein. It lets the profs and the administration off the hook, especially when they themselves are nervous about fractious students.
Were you ever afraid to speak your mind?
No.
No. Why would I even ask?
And the question, well, but I mean, this is sort of a learned response. I mean, knowing you better, gird your loins for the battle, knowing you're going to be attacked or called names or so on and so forth. But this is such an interesting study, because think about your peers as adults in your social, professional, and communitarian circles. Are you willing to express your opinions? I mean, think about that in the context of the 2020 presidential election, as I said. Are you going to be willing to make the case for Trump, for example? Make the case for Ives against Kasten? Make the case for whoever's running against, whoever the nominee is against Underwood? Make the case for particular senators in other states where you have friends or professional colleagues? Will you make the case? Or are you just going to kind of keep your head down and avoid the fray for fear of some sort of reprisal, either personal or professional? It's something to really consider. And also something else to consider. Where does this come from? Where does what these two professors at UNC Chapel Hill observed through their questionnaires of undergrads at University of North Carolina, where does that come from? Where you have a majority of a particular college classes that are censorious in nature, that create a culture where free expression is not encouraged. In point of fact, they're a Praetorian Guard for ideas that they don't like, that they shall not enter K through 12 school systems. So are you willing to stand up and make your opinions known about how children should be educated? K through 12 school systems, like the one you send your kids to. That's a whole other question, isn't it?
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Talk about a comeback. It's not just Biden. How about Bibi in Israel? We'll talk about Bibi's victory with our friend and colleague Michael Medved at the top of the 8 o'clock hour.
But now let's go straight into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
A child killed, 8 others hurt in a Southwest Side blaze here in Chicago. A patient at the University of Chicago, negative for COVID-19. Blackhawks beat the Ducks, Bulls at Timberwolves tonight. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. Joe Biden riding a wave. I'm Dave Anthony.
And we're told, well, when you got to Super Tuesday, it'd be over. Well, it may be over for the other guy.
Biden won primaries in 9 states, getting more than 50% of the Democratic vote in Virginia, 63% in Alabama. He also won Texas.
So much of this was about turnout, especially by the African-American voters, that Joe Biden won by such convincing margins. Biden came through the South like a combine through a cornfield, harvesting not only votes, but running those vote totals up to get the delegates that he needs to go on and win the nomination.
Fox's Leland Vittert. While Biden took the lead in delegates, Bernie Sanders did win 4 primaries, including the big prize, California, and he's confident he'll still win this race.
We are going to defeat the most dangerous president in the history of this country.
Mike Bloomberg did score 1 win far away from here, the caucuses in American Samoa. But he and Elizabeth Warren finished a distant 3rd and 4th in the primaries. He's reportedly reassessing his campaign. President Trump easily won all 13 Republican primaries, getting 88% of the vote or more in each state, and he had a lot to say about the Democrats. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
President Trump sweeping the Republican presidential primaries and tweeting about the Democrats, writing the Democrat establishment came together and crushed Bernie Sanders again. He continued, even the fact that Elizabeth Warren stayed in the race was devastating to Bernie and allowed Sleepy Joe to unthinkably win Massachusetts. Also tweeting, the biggest loser by far is Mini Mike Bloomberg. His political consultants took him for a ride. Dave?
John, the coronavirus in the U.S. blamed for 9 deaths, more than 100 cases. And as the CDC recommends, Americans don't travel to China, South Korea, Iran, or Italy. Government's considering all Italian schools to close in the next 2 weeks, and Iran's canceled Friday prayers. America's listening to Fox News.
Sunshine in Chicago, 36 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A baby is dead. 8 others badly hurt after a house fire broke out right around midnight last night on Chicago's southwest side. It happened in a single-family home near 60th and Kenneth. Authorities continue investigating after a man died of a suspected carbon monoxide poisoning on Chicago's south side. Police say an alarm went off inside an apartment building last night in the 800 block of East 53rd. Fire crews located a unit with a stove on. That led to the alarm going off. A man was found dead in another unit across the hall. Officials at the University of Chicago Medical Center are confirming that a patient suspected of having the coronavirus, who was being treated at the hospital, has tested negative for the virus. The lawyer for a man charged in the killing of a Chicago police commander says his client was acting in self-defense, while prosecutors insist he fatally shot the veteran officer to avoid arrest.
It's a tragedy, but, actually, Commander Bauer brought it on himself.
Shamari Leggett is on trial in Cook County Circuit Court for first-degree murder in the February 2018 killing of Commander Paul Bauer. Blackhawks score 4 second-period goals. They beat the Ducks 6-2 at the United Center. Cubs fell to the Rockies 11-10. White Sox a 6-5 loss to the A's in spring baseball. It's 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Deirdre Bolton, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Global stock averages are higher after the sell-off that followed the Federal Reserve lowering short-term interest rates by 0.5%. The dramatic emergency step was outside its scheduled meetings and surprised investors, highlighting the potential economic impact of the coronavirus. Campbell's Soup is reporting a better-than-expected quarter. Its sales improved over a year ago. Campbell says it's seeing increases in sales of its soups, broths, and Prego pasta sauces. Online traders have been attracted to brokerage firm Robinhood because of its no-commission trades. However, during the market turmoil this week, Robinhood was offline for Monday and part of Tuesday. Robinhood says the outage was caused by an issue with its infrastructure. Other online brokerages have experienced brief outages in recent days. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Coselda, invested in you.
WIND News Time is 8:04. Check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
I've been talking about this risk of coronavirus for weeks.
Steve Cortez.
I think that it's looking increasingly not only possible, but probable that at least parts of the United States will end up in those kinds of situations where school is closed, where mass gatherings are restricted. I think that is not just possible, but probable.
The Steve Cortez Show, weeknights at 5, right before Larry Elder at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I went to have my blood test done a few weeks ago, and I met the doctor, and he was really encouraged by my progress. I brought him the 2 bottles, and I showed him what I was taking, and he started looking at all the ingredients. He said, "You may be onto something here," and I'm like, "Oh, wow." And he said, "You just keep that up. You're helping your health by doing that." And I'm like, "Whoa, endorsement by the doctor."
Don't wait to see what getting over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can do for you. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. Start your journey to better health today by calling 1-800-2468-751 or by going to balanceofnature.com, and make sure to receive this special radio offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com.
8:07, and it's time to call Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL, and time to check the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center with Jim Telemonti.
Southwest side, Central Avenue remains blocked north of Midway between 54th and Archer due to a collision involving a freight train. Lakeshore Drive is jammed. Southbound Bryn Mawr to Montrose, where there is a crash. Traffic is also heavy. Then Irving Park to North Avenue. Northbound delays are from the Stevenson to Jackson. Eden's 20 minutes like Cook to Montrose. Kennedy, 56 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. 34 from Montrose, 21 on the Express. Eisenhower, 53 minutes, 390 to downtown. 35 from Wolf. Stevenson, 53 minutes, 355 to the drive. The Ryan, 45 minutes from 95th to downtown. Northbound Veterans Memorial. It is rough sledding. I-55 from Reagan Tollway. It's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonti on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
A rain or snow shower around the area this morning, otherwise breezy. Clouds give way to some sun today, the high 47. Clear to partly cloudy tonight, low 32. Partly sunny, mild day, breezy tomorrow, the high 52. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
36 and sunshine at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by HealthQuest Radio with Dr. David Kobaba. Every Saturday morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. The biggest comeback since Lazarus? No, I'm not talking about Joe Biden. I'm talking about Bibi Netanyahu. How about Bibi winning yet another election, the biggest of his career, because it sustains it. Now the question still remains whether or not he can put together a governing coalition. There's also a question that remains about his pending trial on corruption charges. And to help us answer all of those questions, I can't think of anybody better. We're pleased to be joined by our friend Michael Medved, host of The Michael Medved Show, member of USA Today's Board of Contributors, and author of God's Hand on America, Divine Providence in the Modern Era. Michael, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
You bet, Dan. Great to speak to you. And the only thing more complicated than Super Tuesday was Super Monday in
Yes.
Israel.
Yes.
It was the most recent election where it's almost like Groundhog Day, because if you go back to April of last year, which was the first of the three elections that they've had, the results were almost identical to what Bibi did this time. And the difficulty is, on St. Patrick's Day, he's supposed to start his trial on bribery, corruption, and breach of trust. And it's not like an impeachment trial. This is a criminal trial. And right now, he won very clearly. He got more votes than his leading opponent. But if you count the Arab list, which is 15 seats in the parliament, there are probably enough votes. They're going to be debating soon, maybe even starting today, a resolution to pass a new law barring Bibi from serving while he's undergoing trial. And because of the Arab votes, 15 of them in parliament, they may have enough to actually pass that law and to prevent Bibi from taking office or keeping office.
And what he really wanted to accomplish was to have enough colleagues get elected so that he could enact the so-called French law, right, which would prevent a sitting prime minister from facing trial.
Correct. And this is unbelievably controversial, and it's not clear that he would have the votes to do that. The most recent returns, and this is like within the hour, is that the right-wing coalition, which is Bibi's Likud party, the traditional conservative party, and a smaller conservative party called Yamina, which means the right, which is full of charismatic younger conservatives, and the religious parties, and there are two major religious parties. That coalition ends up with 58 seats. Now, you need 61 seats to form a government. The other side isn't even close. The other side has like 12 seats less. But the problem here is now the latest thing. I can't believe it. The news keeps breaking. There is an accusation that there is a younger left-wing member of parliament who is going to be returning, who may be blackmailed about some hidden tape in which she describes Benny Gantz, who's the leader of the center-left, as a dumb loser. And unless she goes over to Netanyahu, they're going to reveal this tape, which is supposed to ruin her career. You hear about this member of parliament who has a secret tape that's about to be exposed. you think, oh, it's going to be something low, dirty,
Anthony
motel room.
Weiner like, yeah, right.
No, this is basically just saying that Benny Gantz, the former Army Chief of Staff, who's the leader of the center left, is a dumb loser, and there are a lot of people on the center left who feel that way right now.
Well, has Bibi's challenger, has he delivered a concession speech yet, or is he still holding out?
They don't do that.
No.
Because
it's never over.
The reason they don't do that is because the politics is never over, and they may. Now, nobody wants this, except maybe the public. Maybe they go a fourth time. And they've had 3 elections within a year, and they could do a fourth. This election, what was most surprising to everybody was it was like record high turnouts. They had 71% turnout, and people theoretically, everybody was saying that the Israeli public is bored and they're tired and they're frustrated. Well, they poured out to the polls. We should have such a good turnout, and I know that's the Bernie Sanders theory here, is that some kind of magical turnout, invisible armies are going to save him.
Well, maybe if we could get Amy Klobuchar and Mayor Pete to endorse Netanyahu, would that help? Since you offer the segue, let's return to our shores and talk a little bit about Super Tuesday and advantage Biden clearly after last night. Your assessment of where the Democrat Party is headed.
Oh, where the Democrat Party is headed is to a November disaster, it seems to me. Because Bernie is completely unacceptable. And what I think was really positive about last night is the American people said, look, we've told pollsters, we've told people, we're not socialists. We don't like socialism here. And by the way, the message in Israel is the same thing. The traditional socialist party in Israel, the Labor Party, fell to they lost. They got half of the votes that polls predicted they would get. People have rejected socialism, and they're rejecting it around the world. And Bernie's out of touch. And the idea is that if Biden runs as socialism light, he's going to get creamed. And then they're also so basically it seems to me in this country that barring some kind of disaster, especially with the primaries next week, where they have primaries in Missouri, which will probably go for Biden, and Michigan, which is who knows, because Bernie's counting on a lot of Arab Americans in Michigan to give him a victory.
Sure. Rashida Tlaib helping out, perhaps.
Yeah, but I think Donald J. Trump is the big winner last night, because what it indicates is that they're going to keep fighting this out, and I can't imagine that all the Bernie bros who have invested so much in their socialist dream are going to go quietly if Joe Biden wins at the convention. Last time, according to exit polls, last time in 2016, 12% of people who voted for Bernie Sanders in the primary voted for Donald Trump in the general election. I think he could do better than that among Bernie bros this time.
And what about Mike Bloomberg? Do you think he'll call it quits now? Did he run out of cash to self-finance this campaign?
The
or is
word
he
is
ego too big?
As of this morning, that he's just committed another $7 million to buy advertising in Michigan, which is next week. Right. You know, I'm really not sure what the game is that Mike Bloomberg is playing, because he's not a dumb guy.
No, he's not.
But this is incredible. And again, I think the real casualty of this race was Elizabeth Warren. She finished third in her home state.
Wow.
She finished third. I mean, the fact that Joe Biden carried Massachusetts, that was one that nobody predicted. And he carried Massachusetts decisively.
Well, and going back to Bloomberg, too, I don't really understand it either, because unless he jumpstarts his campaign with what he's been doing thus far that hasn't worked outside of American Samoa, then what is the argument for piling up a small fraction of delegates with second and third place finishes around the rest of the states. You go to the convention and you say, I'm the consensus candidate, give me your delegates, or I'm the consensus candidate to the super delegates. I mean, how persuasive is that?
It isn't. And look, Bloomberg, if Bloomberg had given really stellar debate performances, I don't think his debate performances were as disastrous as people say, but they weren't very good. And the point is, this is just a proof that money can't buy elections. Biden literally won a bunch of states that he never visited and where he didn't spend a dime, nothing. He had no employees, he had no offices, nothing. And he won those states. I mean, the fact that he won in Maine, apparently, it's still very close, but that he won in Massachusetts and in Minnesota, for goodness sake. No one expected Biden would win in Minnesota. And he won in Minnesota pretty big. Now, that's partially the influence of Amy Klobuchar. But I think that what's happening for Democrats is that they're looking at Joe Biden as the least scary. He's dotty and he's lost a few steps, but at least he's familiar and he isn't terrifying. And Democrats are terrified of President Trump. They're increasingly terrified of Bernie Sanders, who is indeed terrifying. Do you know, Bernie Sanders would be the same age when he took office that Reagan was when he left office after 8 years.
Yeah, and Joe Biden's a year younger.
Yeah. But so much more spry.
The youngest person in the race is 70.
Just sticking on this for a second, do you agree that Joe Biden is you were describing as the safe play? It's very reminiscent to me, although you didn't have 30 years of inertia behind him at the national level. But it's reminiscent of me, Mitt Romney in 2012, the safe play after all the other candidates had been measured and found wanting.
Yeah, there is that aspect, but the thing about Mitt Romney was that nobody questioned his suitability for the office. I mean, you may not have liked him, but Mitt Romney's monumentally bright, and even today, and Mitt Romney is, I think, the exact same age as President Trump. Neither one of those look different than they did a while ago. I think that Vice President Biden, when you listen to him, you kind of almost root for him to complete his sentence. And when that becomes a challenge, it's really hard to envision what the debates would look like between President Trump and Joe Biden.
I'd be like watching a horror film through my hands, wanting it to stop.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw Invisible Man, but
it's very good.
The invisible woman in this campaign was Tulsi Gabbard. You know, she won a delegate last night.
She did?
I did not realize that. All right,
she did.
She's on the board.
Where?
In American Samoa.
Hey.
She was born in American Samoa, and she got a delegate there. So she's keeping up her campaign, which is really a campaign to get a slot on MSNBC.
Right.
Well, Chris Matthews is clearing out some space. Michael Medved, host of the Michael Medved Show, member of USA Today's Board of Contributors, author of God's Hand on America, Divine Providence in the Modern Era. Michael, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
You bet. Again, in Israel and in the United States, I think we stagger on a while longer with indecisiveness, alas.
Yes. Thank you, Michael.
You bet, Dan.
Bye, Michael. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hello, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and it's time for reparations. Reparations for the black community are bigger than a single check. Reparations are an opportunity to repair the results from the African enslavement, the redlining, the war on drugs, police terror, and continued discrimination. It is time for an investment as targeted as the policies that create our divide. I'm asking you to support the bill I sponsor. Please call your state legislator.
Paid for by drwilliewilsonfoundation.org.
Hi, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and I've dedicated my life in the service of others. As Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, life's most pressing and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? By supporting the reparation bill, I am working for the descendants of slaves to gain generation wealth, education, housing, job, and service for senior citizens. Call your state representative to support this bill. God bless.
Paid for by drwilliewilsonfoundation.org.
Picture your son and the kind of man you hope he becomes, a strong father and a man of deep faith and a great professional. Northridge Prep builds that kind of man. At an open house on Sunday, April 5th, see why my friends are among the families from 74 Chicagoland zip codes that chose Northridge Prep. They have it all. Teachers there are role models, challenging students through a demanding curriculum, through championship-winning athletics programs, and through electives like business and bioethics. It's the #1 all-boys and #4 best Catholic school in Illinois and sends students to some of the best universities in the U.S. each year. Students leave Northridge Prep ready to make a real impact. If your son is entering grades 6 through 12, I urge you to visit Northridge Prep's open house on Sunday, April 5th. Register online at northridgeprep.org. That's northridgeprep.org.
Townstone Financial is synonymous with great rates, low closing costs, and phenomenal service to the thousands who have completed purchases and refinances with us since 2002. Hi, my name is Barry Sterner, owner of Townstone Financial. Let's hear about the Townstone experience from one of our customers.
I'm Christopher Nowak, a real estate agent with Castline Properties here in Chicago. We had a really complex deal. Zach Schwartz at Townstone was willing to pick up the phone while he was on vacation in Florida to make sure that this deal got done. Because the one thing that Townstone really focuses on is attention to their clients, attention to their customers, making sure they get the absolute best customer experience possible.
Remember, nobody values your business more than Townstone Financial, and I'm always available to answer your questions. Call me now at 312-896-2110. That's 312-896-2110, or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com.
Townstone Financial is licensed in Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida. NMLS 136639. www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Equal housing lender.
I'm doing it and taking Balance of Nature, making a commitment to a healthier 2020. And you can too. And right now you can get free shipping and 35% off your first preferred order. Why do you need Balance of Nature? Well, we're not getting enough fruits and veggies in our daily diet. And when you eat well, it will boost your immune system. That's what doctors say. So go to balanceofnature.com, discount code Chicago, or call one of their operators who are also considered coaches. They'll walk you through the process. They'll answer any questions you have. And that number is 800-246-8751, 800-246-8751, balanceofnature.com, discount code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
Let's take a couple calls in reaction to our discussion with Michael Medved. Joe on the South Side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Sure.
The gaffes that Joe Biden's had recently have been so ridiculous, it made me question. Is he actually having dementia, or is he faking it in order to not be able to answer questions regarding Ukraine and Burisma in the near future? Like, basically, he's not running to win. He's just running to put the public persona out there that, well, he's old and frail and possibly dementia, so he doesn't have to testify.
I don't think he's that good of an actor. Thanks for the call, Joe. I just don't think. And by the way, I mean, who in the press corps is asking him about Burisma? Who in the field of opponents is making an issue of his familial self-enrichment during his time as Vice President of the United States? That may be coming, but it's not really present there at this point. He sort of brushed off questions, too, during the height of the impeachment proceeding when Hunter Biden was more central. No, I don't think it's an act. I mean, here's the thing about the guy. He's a fabulist, which is sort of a fancy way of saying liar, pathological, for 30 years. He's a plagiarist, which is another iteration of his lying. And he is an intellectual lightweight. Not a great combination of qualities, but that's good enough for the Democrat Socialists in 2020, potentially. Tracy in Naperville.
Hey, Dan. Hey, Amy. So, Dan, you're kind of leading up to the theory that I wanted to share with you. You know, in the face of all these obvious flaws and his obvious senility, do you think that the theory that he may choose Michelle Obama as his vice president is the whole strategy here.
I'm sure he wishes he could.
She is not going to do that.
There is
I'm really hoping you're going to pull me off the ledge on this.
no,
man,
there's
because-
no way.
There's no way in the world she would do that.
Michelle Obama would have to choose him, and not the other way around. There is no way.
She's not going back to
that-
Washington,
You don't
D.C.
think this is their grand plan
No.
to then have 8 more years of Obama?
No, I don't.
No.
I don't. I really don't. Thanks for the call, Tracy. I said this before when there were all the conspiracy theories afoot that because the field was so weak, the white knight that was going to come in, so to speak, was not Mike Bloomberg, but was Michelle Obama. And I dismissed those just as I've dismissed suggestions Michelle Obama was going to run for U.S. Senate in Illinois.
Or in
Michelle Obama was
California.
going to run for mayor of Chicago. Michelle Obama is not interested in public office. She
Ever.
didn't like being in the White House as a first lady with no real effective official duties. You think she wants to go through a bruising campaign? She just doesn't. It's just not her. There are some people, I know this is hard to believe, people in politics, you just expect everybody wants the brass ring. But those who weren't elected but were brought along, a lot of them don't. They don't even want the public scrutiny. You know what? The Obamas, I think, are enjoying their lives with their newfound Netflix cash, living as celebrities, rich celebrities
Hanging out
at that.
Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Yeah,
Going to concerts.
No, it's going to have to be somebody a lot less glamorous politically than Michelle Obama. I mean, of course, she's stunning, but
Well,
I
no,
was
she
talking
is good.
politically.
She's very good looking.
Yeah.
And I'm actually reading her book right now and learning a lot about her.
You know what that reminds me of when women overstate the attractiveness of other women, like you just did.
no.
You know what? It reminds me of a joke
What?
by Mark Norman, who's
Yeah.
a stand-up comedian. Who?
This better be funny, Bloomberg.
Yeah.
Okay.
My comedic timing is almost as good. So he talks about, Caitlyn Jenner. You bring up Caitlyn Jenner, and women will say, "Oh, she's so beautiful. She's so beautiful." And then they'll say, "Oh, really? I think you look like her." And they'll say, "Go blank yourself." Right? It's perfect. Yeah. Oh, gorgeous, stunning. That's what women say about women who are less attractive than them. Absolutely.
Michelle Obama is far more attractive than I will ever be.
Absolutely. You just keep playing that game, sister.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll get more perspective from last night's result and the campaign going forward from Andy Kroll, who's the D.C. bureau chief for Rolling Stone at 8:38.
And Meghan Markle did get that voiceover gig at Disney, but now she wants more. Let's now, though, head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
38 degrees, skies are mostly sunny, and Joe Biden is celebrating a Super Wednesday after a Super Tuesday.
People are talking about a revolution. We started a movement. We've increased turnout. The turnout's turned out for us.
Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, in spite of some losses yesterday, predicts he will win the Democrat nomination.
I tell you with absolute confidence, we are going to win the Democratic nomination, and we are going to defeat the most dangerous president in the history of this country.
Sanders won 3 states and is expected to clinch California. Wall Street ready to soar after the Super Tuesday results. Stock futures are up about 2% ahead of the opening bell. Dozens are still missing after tornadoes struck Nashville and the northern Tennessee area yesterday.
It's heartbreaking. It's incredible. Our prayers are greatly needed for families out there who are dealing with a sudden tragic event.
24 are dead, the deadliest tornado outbreak in Tennessee since 2011. Doctors are trying to edit the DNA inside of a patient's body for the first time. The patient has a rare genetic disorder that has left them blind. Harvard doctors are hoping that by editing the DNA inside the patient's eyes, they may be able to restore some vision. Here in Chicago, a baby is dead, at least 8 others hurt following a house fire on the southwest side. Authorities continue investigating after a man died of suspected carbon monoxide poisoning on Chicago's south side. Fire alarms and monoxide alarms went off last night inside an apartment building in the 800 block of East 53rd Street. Chicago sports found the Blackhawks winning again, beating the Ducks 6-2. Cubs fell to the Rockies in spring baseball, while the White Sox lost to the A's 6-5. The news service of Robert Half. Robert Half is the better way to hire. They pre-evaluate and custom match highly skilled professionals to your specific project and full-time hiring requirements. Robert Half, experts in accounting, finance, IT, legal, marketing, and administrative. Visit roberthalf.com. 8:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher can break down the Bloomberg campaign.
No one's going to vote for Mike Bloomberg based on his ideas because he doesn't have any. He's got one. He wants to take your guns away. He's anti-gun. That much we know. And he's big nanny, big government, typical liberal. The government knows better than you do how much salt you can eat and how big your big gulps can be. He's all into that. But other than that, he doesn't have any core beliefs.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Improving your home? Why not make it easy? Don't miss the Home and Garden Show next weekend at the Tinley Park Convention Center with free admission. This huge 60,000 square foot event features the ultimate in savings and convenience with thousands of the latest home products and services for the freshest ideas to remodel, repair, and beautify your home. Inside and out. Get trusted advice on all your upcoming projects as you speak with experts who will help you with all of your home improvement needs. And be sure to attend the free seminars, live cooking shows, and hourly cash giveaways all weekend long. You'll also see quality indoor and outdoor furniture, home appliances, product demonstrations, a plant sale by Ted's Greenhouse, and so much more. From interiors to exteriors, from decor to outdoor. You'll find it all at the massive Home and Garden Show next weekend at the Tinley Park Convention Center on Harlem Avenue just north of I-80 with free admission and free parking. For details, visit tinleyparkshow.com. That's tinleyparkshow.com. The following is a paid political announcement.
Jim Oberweis is the conservative leader we know and trust, and he gets results. Jim Oberweis has raised millions of dollars to help conservatives across Illinois fight Mike Madigan and the Chicago Democrats. As a state senator, Jim Oberweis has never voted for a tax increase and never will. Jim Oberweis is the only candidate to stand up and fight against Dick Durbin and the D.C. swamp, beating Dick Durbin in each county in the 14th district. Jim Oberweis fought to stop J.B. Pritzker's liberal agenda and strongly opposes Pritzker's graduated income tax. Jim Oberweis is the conservative leader we need to beat Nancy Pelosi and Lauren Underwood. Jim Oberweis stands with President Trump and will vote to fund and build the wall. If you want to support President Trump, stop the liberals, and keep America great, you need to vote for conservative leader Jim Oberweis in the Republican primary on March 17th.
I'm Jim Oberweis, and I approve this message.
Get the best sleep of your life. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences. Go to helixsleep.com and get up to $200 off during their holiday sale.
It is 8:36. Let's check the roads now in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center with Jim Telemonte.
Tri-State southbound traffic is stop and go from 21 to Eau Plaine. Your northbound delays are southwest highway to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to Irving Park. But Adams Tollway, it's heavy 31 to Barrington Road. Reagan Tollway's okay, but the northbound Veterans Memorial is really snarled from I-55 to the Reagan Tollway. Edens runs 19 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 27. Kennedy, 58 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, 35 from Montrose, 22 in the Express, outbound 35 to the airport. Inbound Eisenhower, 58 minutes, 390 to downtown, 36 from Wolf, outbound 36 to 390. Stevenson, 55 minutes, 355 to the drive to Ryan, 45 minutes from 95th. That's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1 hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Clearing and breezy through the rest of this day with a high near 47. Clear to partly cloudy and 32 overnight. It's 37 degrees officially at O'Hare. Your next news update is at 9, and Chicago's Morning Answer, Dan and Amy, continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, the market opening up to 2 points bouncing back from yesterday, shedding 800 points. Some are calling it the Biden bump.
Already,
Really?
yeah.
Really?
It's all because of Biden's Super Tuesday win.
Yeah, it sounds like something Paul Krugman might say. But this is from the same people who, decry President Trump taking credit for the run of the bull market up until the outbreak of the coronavirus. I mean, it's just politics. It's just comical. It really is. I just have to go back to some of the Bidenisms from the last 2 days. Even though he had such a big night last night, resuscitated his campaign to the point where it's clearly advantage Biden. Bernie flailing, Bloomberg all but out. Yesterday, Biden saying this upon taking the stage in L.A. with wife and sister and wife.
Yeah,
Who can
sister.
remember?
They don't call Super Tuesday for nothing. By the way, this is my little sister, Valerie, and I'm Jill's husband. Oh, no, you switched on me. This is my wife. This is my sister. They switched on me.
Inspires a lot of confidence. Clearly part of the Biden bounce. Also, could you drop the "I'm Jill's husband"
Yeah,
routine?
it's not.
You know what that is?
Patronizing.
It really is.
Come on, women, vote for me.
I just, politicians, just more comedy. The folly is endless. For more on last night's results and the trajectory of the race, pleased to be joined again by Andy Kroll, who's the D.C. bureau chief for Rolling Stone. Andy, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Great to be back.
So you penned a piece for Rolling Stone in advance of Super Tuesday, talking about how the turnout, the energy within the Democrat ranks hadn't lived up to, say, 2008 levels up in the first few states, the early states, state primaries and caucuses. Last night, a little bit more juice there, a little bit more energy. Are you more sanguine about Democrat chances after what you saw last night?
I think it's a mixed bag. And I want to start by putting out there that comparisons of turnout in the primaries this year to 2016 aren't a particularly useful exercise because 2016 was, an anomalous year in a lot of ways and also didn't end that well for the Democratic Party. Mm-hmm. So if you're a Democrat, you really want to look toward 2008, that, historic battle between Obama and Clinton, which saw just astronomical record-setting turnout around the country. Going into Super Tuesday, the numbers weren't great for Democrats. They were not meeting those 2008 numbers. They were behind in some cases and about even in some cases, and then, certainly trailing when you account for the fact that some of these states have grown. South Carolina's grown 20% since 2008. The numbers look a little bit better last night. Virginia obviously had a huge turnout, which in a lot of ways speaks to an Obama-aligned frontrunner, Joe Biden in this case, surging, being on the ballot, and all of these Democratic establishment figures lining up behind him. You saw pretty good turnout, not record-breaking in Texas. California, it's going to take a while to know. So I think it's a mixed picture at this point. It is not yet the 2008 surge that I think Democrats, they're really going to need in November in the general election if they're going to beat Trump and his highly motivated base of voters.
Although Rachel Bitecofer, she who's election modeler and poli-sci, made a bit of a name for herself at the Niskanen Center after her predictions that the midterm elections were pretty close to spot on. She makes the point that this idea that high turnout helps Democrats, low turnout helps Republicans is a bit of a myth. It really depends on the composition of that turnout. For example, she points to a Knight Foundation study that finds that universal participation would benefit the GOP in many swing states. In Virginia, for example, which I wouldn't call a swing state, but she does for the purposes of illustration. In Virginia, 35% of non-voters would vote for Trump, 31% would vote for Democrat. In Arizona, 34% would vote for Trump, and only 25% would choose a Democrat. The same advantage in Florida among non-voters. So, high turnout for Democrats isn't necessarily doesn't necessarily translate into victory.
No, just saying high turnout equals Democrats win is a misnomer. Rachel Bitecofer, who you just cited, would know that better than anyone. She's absolutely right. But the point is, low turnout for Democrats is a disaster because those non-voters or voters who don't turn up in primaries that you cited or that she cited in those different states, they're going to turn out in November for President Trump. They are going to be mobilized. The president and his allies are running, a what's likely to be $1 billion voter mobilization campaign. They've got all year to do it. They don't have any competition in a serious way in the primaries. They can focus on finding all of those non-voters, identifying them, figuring out what matters to them, what makes them tick, and turning them out. So it's important to say that high turnout doesn't de facto mean Democrats win, but they're absolutely toast without it.
Now, a few hours ago, you tweeted out about Michael Bloomberg, his future, and that it's vague. Can you explain? Andy? Hello?
Say that again, sorry.
Oh, did you tweet? You tweeted out about Michael Bloomberg and about his his future in the race?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the big question today, is what Michael Bloomberg does. I have to say it was kind of a wonderfully ironic moment last night. He took the stage in West Palm Beach at his Super Tuesday rally and said that his campaign had done something no other campaign had done. And in a way, he's right. Spend $500 million and win, I think, like 4 or 5 delegates, win one territory, American Samoa. I mean, he's right. No candidate in political history in America has done that before, but I don't think it's the kind of footnote in history that Michael Bloomberg was hoping to create. Bloomberg got into the race as the moderate alternative to Biden. He got in thinking that Biden was weakened by whether it's the Ukraine stuff or just being a pretty feeble candidate, as that audio clip you played earlier illustrated, and many other clips have illustrated. That doesn't seem to be the case now. Biden has managed to get the Democratic establishment behind him. He won Texas, which is a huge accomplishment for him. And again, I think a testament as much to Democratic voters making a late-breaking decision about who they think can beat Trump than anything Joe Biden has particularly done on the campaign trail. So Bloomberg's reason for being in the race seems to be evaporating before his eyes right now. And he's got to make a decision about whether he's going to stay in to maybe the next March 10 round or whether he gets out. What happens to his political machine that he's built in all these states? Does it go to Biden? Does it just go away? I think there's a lot to know and a lot to be decided this week in the Bloomberg camp.
Yeah, I mean, he's $12 million in TV ads in Michigan, so, maybe you let it run its course for another week and see if, again, he can find a way to ignite his campaign, although it's difficult to see exactly how that would transpire. I wonder what you think is, the big question, obviously, for Republicans is, who is the better matchup for Trump? In other words, who's the weaker candidate? And there are competing arguments, Bernie versus Biden. How do you assess the matchup, the potential matchups, Biden versus Trump versus Bernie versus Trump?
The way it looks right now, it is so easy to see two equally successful and problematic scenarios, whether it's a Biden nomination or a Sanders nomination. I don't mean to equivocate on the question, but it's easy to see a Sanders nomination that galvanizes young people, Latino voters, voters of color in a way that Barack Obama did in 2008. It's very easy to see Joe Biden replicating the kind of outpouring of support Democrats got in the 2018 midterms when you saw suburban women voters who were maybe moderate Republicans or independents who maybe voted for the president in 2016 but felt put off by the first 2 years of the administration, going for Joe Biden in 2020. But at the same time, I hear just today a lot of more liberal folks out there who voted for Sanders, who voted for Warren, feeling like they're back in that place again of a voting for someone on the Democratic side that doesn't inspire them and doesn't excite them and doesn't really get them out of bed in the morning. They're just going to cast their ballot to vote against Donald Trump. I at this stage in the race, and I could eat my words, who knows, I do think that Joe Biden is a stronger candidate because I think a lot of those Warren Sanders voters, especially the Warren ones, however many of them there really are, still feel energized by voting against the president. That's what we saw in 2018. As much as that was a vote for these Democratic candidates around the country, it was a referendum of sorts on the first 2 years of the president. And I think you'll see a lot of liberal progressive voters say, I don't love Joe Biden, but my enthusiasm or my motivation to vote against the president will lead me to vote for Joe Biden. You'll lose some Sanders people along the way, but I do think Biden has that in his favor, and we've seen it in among parts of the African-American voting electorate. We've seen it across the South. We saw it in a way in Texas. I do think that plays into his hands. I want to see what Michigan does next week. I want to see what Wisconsin does a little bit later in this primary cycle, but for now, that's kind of how I separate out those two front runners.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about Bernie. It seems to me that he's on the clock to make amends with Elizabeth Warren over that ridiculous dinner flap and try and bring her in the fold and consolidate, the socialist element of the party and do it before Michigan. So he wins Michigan. He can maybe win Illinois and some of these other states down the road in March, because he clearly can't do it by himself. And he's only right now, according to CNN's count, about 61 delegates behind Joe Biden for all the hoopla regarding Biden's comeback yesterday. It's hardly an insurmountable lead, but it's a significant lead in elections that are proportional. You don't have a lot of opportunities to have a net 60 delegate pickup in a single state. So you're going to have to put some, you're going to have to string together some W's, as it were. And it just seems to me that Bernie's going to have a difficult time doing that with where the race is now without changing up the dynamic. And the best way to change up the dynamic is to try and get Elizabeth Warren in his fold.
It's the most obvious thing Sanders could do right now to inject his campaign with a jolt of energy would be for Elizabeth Warren to drop out of the race and endorse him and say, we are fusing our liberal progressive campaigns together, and to try to get all of those Warren voters out there to split for Sanders. Though, to be clear, if you look at the voting data, Warren voters, their second choice is not necessarily always Sanders.
Right.
Those voters have gone in other places, including to Joe Biden. But an endorsement from her would be big. I mean, we see the power of endorsements with Joe Biden surge in the last few days. There's a school of thought that endorsements are antiquated. They don't mean anything in the age of social media. But look at this week. I mean, voters are uncertain. They are, on the Democratic side, are uncertain, afraid, and looking for every single data point they possibly can to help make their decision the moment before they walk into the voting booth. And I think that's why you saw such a break for Joe Biden, especially in a place like Texas, going into Super Tuesday, is that you had this flood of endorsements and this flood of sort of Democratic Party support getting in behind Joe Biden. And he saw a lot of voters out there say, I just saw Jim Clyburn in South Carolina endorse Joe Biden. I'm going to vote for him in the South Carolina primary. Or I just saw all of these Democratic congressmen, former senators, former governors, et cetera, endorse Biden. So we're going with him. Sanders needs something like that. He needs, not only that, he needs that progressive lane essentially to himself at this point. I mean, this is a progressive flank versus moderate flank nomination fight at this point. And there are front runners in each, and there are secondary runners in each, Warren being on the left and Bloomberg being on the moderate side. And Biden and Sanders need those two to either get out and or get behind them if they really want to sew this thing up and try to avert a brokered convention in Milwaukee.
He is Andy Kroll, the Washington, D.C. bureau chief for Rolling Stone magazine. Andy, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Thanks.
Take care.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
In 2020, we will decide the direction of our nation for decades to come. Do you want more government in your life or more freedom? As a veteran, Jeannie Ives stands on the side of freedom. She took an oath to protect and defend our Constitution. Now, our American values are under attack. Our economic system, the rule of law, and our ability to create and pursue opportunity. In Illinois, Jeannie spent 7 years fighting corruption and reckless spending because every dime government spends comes out of your pocket. In Washington, Ives will fight to balance the budget, defend our borders, grow the economy, and stand in the way of big government policies. You deserve to have your voice heard in Washington, not to be talked down to by elitist politicians in your own backyard. Choose the candidate who works for you. Choose Jeannie Ives for Congress.
I'm Jeannie Ives, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Jeannie for Congress.
Got a great night's sleep last night, all thanks to MyPillow and those Giza cotton sheets, which I look forward to slipping into every evening. I got to tell you, they keep you cool. They're soft. They're just like Egyptian cotton, but a lot cheaper. And right now you can get 2 sets for the price of one still. 2 for 1. Can't beat that deal. So go to MyPillow.com. Look at all the different colors and sizes that they offer. And check out the MyPillows, too, and the mattress toppers and the new MyPillow towels. Everything is deeply discounted, but only if you type AMY Amy in that promo code. MyPillow.com, promo code Amy.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hey all, this is Jim Carr, co-host of the #1 rated manufacturing podcast, Making Chips, and a customer of Signature Bank. If you're a crazy busy company owner like me, you know that success in business is all about relationships. While many banks call themselves a relationship bank, Signature knows how to do it right. They made the banking relationship easy and on my timeline. Their technology, coupled with the attention from my personal banker, made the transaction as effortless and seamless as possible. Much thanks to Signature Bank for supporting Car Machine and Tool when we needed it most. Bam.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I went to have my blood test done a few weeks ago, and I met the doctor, and he was really encouraged by my progress. I brought him the 2 bottles, and I showed him what I was taking, and he started looking at all the ingredients. He said, "You may be onto something here." And I'm like, "Oh, wow." And he said, "You just keep that up. You're helping your health by doing that." I'm like, "Whoa, endorsement by the doctor."
Don't wait to see what getting over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can do for you. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. Start your journey to better health today by calling 1-800-2468-751 or by going to balanceofnature.com and make sure to receive this special radio offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hello, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and it's time for reparations. Reparations for the black community are bigger than a single check. Reparations are an opportunity to repair the results from the African enslavement, the Red Line, the war on drugs, police terrorists, and continued discrimination. It is time for an investment as target as the policies that create our divide. I'm asking you to support the bill I sponsor. Please call your state legislator.
Paid for by drwilliewilsonfoundation.org.
Hi, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and I've dedicated my life in the service of others. As Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, life's most pressing and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? By supporting the reparation bill, I am working for the descendants of slaves to gain generational wealth, education, housing, jobs, and service for senior citizens. Call your state representative to support this bill. God bless.
Paid for by drwilliewilsonfoundation.org.
Safety. It's so important at your industrial facility. You need to keep your personnel safe and meet OSHA requirements. One problem with your ladders, platforms, or safety guards, and you could be facing costly fines. Vans Industrial helps you meet OSHA standards to keep your employees safe.
Hi,